cultivation world, I begin by getting struck by lightning. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 876. He is too familiar with this feeling. Su-fan didn't care what these people thought. Since they came to die, I will help them. Thinking of this, he wanted to swing the demon-subduing sky-splitting mountain hammer in his hand to kill all these guys. But at this moment, the half-step refining realm cultivator who is in the lead spoke. "Devours, how about we stop here today?" Su-fan sneered. "It's over with just one word of provoking me. There is no such good thing in the world. Stop talking nonsense, I will." Before he finished speaking, the half-step refining realm old monster who is in the lead waved his hand. "Devours, wait a minute." After he said that, he thought for a while and said, "Devours, can you please go to my place for a cup of tea?" Seeing that the other party was completely scared, Su-fan was not in a good position to take action. He was just like that. He was soft-hearted and not hard-hearted. Of course, he understood what the other party meant. The 9-curved cave group could compensate him. However, they just didn't want to do this in front of so many cultivators. Su-fan understood the other party. After all, they were all big bosses from the 9-bend cave and were afraid of losing their dignity in front of so many cultivators. As long as the other party compensated for his mental damage, he didn't care what method was used. Moreover, the old ancestor of the Deadwood must be guarding outside the Broken Blade Canyon at this time. It was like a sword hanging over his head. Su-fan didn't dare to slack off now. He didn't have the heart to argue with these rascals from the 9-bend cave. And he knew in his heart that these people should have guessed his identity. "I have something to do today, so I won't drink tea." "You can do it." After hearing this, the other party bowed his hand to him with gratitude. "Devours, then we will take our leave first." After the old monster who is in the half-step refining realm and the other dozens of cultivators in the spirit transformation realm finished speaking, he and dozens of other cultivators in the spirit transformation realm disappeared into the air almost at the same time. Seeing that the big bosses from the 9-bend cave had left, the cultivators who had gathered around them also dispersed. After everyone had dispersed, Su-fan called Luozawin, who was in the secret room below the shop, and led her away. They found a place nearby, changed their appearance and aura again, and then found an inn and settled down in a luxurious suite. Not long after they entered the guest room, a Unimaginable realm cultivator presented them with a stored ring. Su-fan certainly would not be polite to them and accepted it directly. His eyes condensed, his consciousness swept over the storage ring, and a satisfied smile appeared on his face. "Okay, these old guys in the Jukwa cave are also sensible." He put the stored ring away, then sat cross-legged in the hall of the guest room, while Luozawin was brewing spiritual tea next to him. While she was brewing tea, she secretly looked at Su-fan. What kind of background is this guy? He is so powerful, probably not much worse than Su-fan. She brewed the spiritual tea and poured a cup for Su-fan. Su-fan took a sip of the tea, then glanced at Luozawin opposite him. Although he had solved the gang of bandits in the 9-bend cave, for some reason, he suddenly felt a sense of crisis. He thought hard for a long time, but he couldn't think of what went wrong. Which made him a little irritated. At least they are safe now. After all, no one in the Broken Blade Canyon can really pose a threat to him. "Contact your ancestor and ask when they will arrive." Luozawin hurriedly took out the communication array from the ring and sent a message to her ancestor. After a while, her ancestor replied. "A friend of the ancestor will arrive at the Broken Blade Canyon in another hour." Su-fan was relieved to hear the girl say so. Then he will wait for another hour, and when the friend of the sister's ancestor arrives, he will have nothing to do. But even so, Su-fan's heart still can't calm down. Su-fan has experienced countless life and death tests and is extremely sensitive to crises. This situation cannot happen for no reason. Fortunately, we only need to wait for another hour, and then we will know whether we live or die. At this time, the jade talisman of Ruai Pavilion on Su-fan's waist vibrated slightly, and he took it off and took a look. "Devours, how are you now?" "We are fine. Have you helped us find support?" "Sorry, we have issued the task, but no one has accepted it yet." The result is the same as Su-fan guessed. Not to mention the high-level evil old demon-like old ancestor of the Deadwood, even a lone wolf like him who comes and goes alone, most people will not easily provoke. It doesn't matter, as long as we hide in the Nine Bends cave, we will be safe. Anyway, that old demon can't enter the Broken Blade Canyon, Devours. Don't worry, we will continue to find our way. Well, then I'll trouble you. Although Su Fan said so, he had long since given up hope in Ruai Pavilion. To put it bluntly, Ruai Pavilion is just an intermediary organization, and the organization itself does not have many powerful high-level combat forces. At the critical moment, except for intelligence, other things can't be counted on them. Su Fan chatted with Qin Yu for a few more words, and then he put the Jade Talisman away. The more at such times, the slower time passed, and it was as if every second felt like a year. Are you a bandit cultivator? After hearing what the girl said, Su Fan shook his head. Then you're a demon cultivator. Seeing that Su Fan was still shaking his head, the girl suddenly widened her eyes. You are not an evil cultivator. After hearing what the girl said, Su Fan couldn't help but smile bitterly. I can't be a disciple of the immortal sect. Forget it. You can't be a disciple of the immortal sect. Why can't I be from the immortal sect? You don't have the temperament of a disciple of the immortal sect in your body, but you have an evil aura. The girl's words left Su Fan speechless, because what she said was right. He was fine before, but since he swallowed the blood of the foreign fusion realm demon, he could no longer find a trace of the breath of a disciple of the immortal sect on his body. Especially after practicing the dragon elephant swallowing yuan training blood mysterious art, he tempered the blood and ki in his body for 3 rounds, and his temperament became more and more evil. Actually, I am a casual cultivator now. Luo Ziwen shook his head and said, not at all, you must be an evil cultivator. Well, you are right, I have practiced the secret method of the evil way, so I can only be considered half an evil cultivator. Believe it or not, I am not an evil cultivator. Anyway, I don't believe it, you. Before the girl finished her words, Su Fan interrupted her with a wave of his hand. At this moment, his scalp exploded, and the hairs all over his body stood up. He was too familiar with this feeling. This feeling only appeared every time he experienced the great terror between life and death. Without thinking, Su Fan quickly took out 2 8th-level body protection fairy talismans from the ring and slapped them on himself. Chapter 877. This time it was a life-or-death experience. Bang! Bang! 2 dull humming sounds were heard in succession, and 2 spiritual shields exploded almost at the same time, covering Su Fan and Luo Ziwen. What are you doing? Why? Luo Ziwen, who was sitting opposite, was startled and asked hurriedly. But before she could finish her words, the guest room of the hotel began to shake violently. Boom! There was a loud earth-shattering sound, and then the 2 of them fell into shock like the collapse of the sky and the cracks of the earth. They only felt a destructive force of annihilation, which came down from the sky. The whole world was shaking violently, and the surrounding space was shattered inch by inch, and the dense cracks spread around like spider webs. Jingu Cave was originally a world hollowed out in the cliff wall. At this moment, it has been completely destroyed and buried in countless broken boulders and rubble. Boom! Boom! The spiritual shields covering the 2 people were like paper, and they exploded one after another in an instant. Fortunately, the jade pendant on Luo Ziwen's chest was activated passively, and a shield was formed again to cover the 2 of them. This barely blocked the devastating blow. But this shield only lasted for a few breaths, and then it collapsed. This also buried them in the rubble of the boulders in an instant. Fortunately, Luo Ziwen's jade talisman won a glimmer of life for the 2. A boulder several feet in size was stuck on the top of the 2 people's heads, so they had a few square meters of space to move around, and they were not hit by the boulder. Even so, Luo Ziwen was still shocked by the violent aftermath of the explosion just now and fainted. Even Su Fan was dizzy. He endured the severe pain in various parts of his body and took out a cloak from the ring to cover the 2 people. At this time, an extremely powerful breath swept back and forth several times from the ruins of the 9-curved cave. Su Fan hugged Luo Ziwen with both hands, holding his breath nervously, not even daring to breathe. Fortunately, the powerful aura disappeared after scanning a few times. Su Fan breathed a sigh of relief, but he didn't dare to move. Old Ancestor Kurumu is a master of the fusion realm. Even if he reveals a little flaw, he will be easily detected by him, and there will be no chance of survival. Boom! At this time, another terrifying and earth-shaking sound came from the sky above Su Fan's head. The whole world trembled violently, and the ruins of the 9-curved cave seemed to be turned over again, almost shaking the sky and the earth. Countless broken stones and debris fell down with a crackling sound and landed on the cloak. The huge rock stuck on the top of the two people's heads also moved down a few inches, making a creepy crackling sound. However, this huge rock withstood the test and was stuck again after moving a bit. Boom! Boom! At this moment, bursts of violent roars came from above Su Fan's head. It should be someone fighting a fierce battle on it. But the battlefield is far away from here. Although the momentum is extremely scary, it has no effect on the ruins of Nine Bend Cave. Su Fan guessed that the battle outside should be caused by a friend of the sister ancestor who arrived and was fighting with the Deadwood ancestor. He took a deep breath. The Deadwood ancestor was too cruel. The old demon must have seen the sister's helper coming, so he destroyed the Nine Bend Cave. If it weren't for the sister's life-saving jade pendant, he would have died under the old demon's attack just now. This time it was really a narrow escape. Since crossing into this world of cultivation, this is the first time that Su Fan has been so close to death. Any big boss in the fusion realm would not easily do such a thing that would anger the heavens and the people, but the evil old demon is not necessarily. Su Fan was careless and underestimated the cruelty of the old demon. If he had known earlier, even if he had known, what would have happened? Did he dare to leave the Nine Bend Cave at that time? He would have died anyway if he went out. Su Fan's eyes condensed, and he completely released his spiritual sense, and found that the ruins of the Nine Bend Cave buried underground had no trace of life. There must be hundreds of thousands of cultivators in the entire Nine Bend Cave, but they were all slaughtered by this old demon. It was a blessing to survive this time. Although he was buried deep underground, it was not difficult for Su Fan, who was in the nascent soul realm, to get out. As long as he activated a oil escape talisman, he could easily return to the ground. But the battle above his head was still going on, so how could he dare to show up at this time? Even if there was a slight fluctuation of spiritual energy on the ground, it would be detected by the old demon, and he could turn the two into ashes with a casual blow. In this fierce battle outside, no matter whether the old ancestor of the Deadwood lost or won, he would not stay here for long. It's better to hide here and wait patiently. After the two big brothers in the fusion realm finished fighting, they would always have a chance to escape. Well, at this time, the girl in his arms finally woke up, and Su Fan quickly moved his body back. Luo Ziwen slowly opened her eyes and saw Su Fan leaning against her. She subconsciously wanted to reach out and push him away. Unfortunately, the two were buried under the boulder and could not move their hands and feet. The girl tried several times but failed. She could only let Su Fan lean against her. She shook her head and recalled what had just happened. When she heard the roars from above her head, she immediately understood her situation. The girl looked at Su Fan, who was close at hand, with a questing look in her eyes. Su Fan did not dare to speak, but sent her a thought. "It's just as you thought. We can't go out now." The girl nodded resignedly and moved back. Of course, it was just symbolic, because there was not much room here. Her action was just to tell Su Fan not to take advantage of her. Su Fan certainly understood the girl's intention, but there was really no room behind him. To be honest, he had no interest in Luo Ziwen at all. Su Fan didn't like the girls of the immortal sect, especially the female cultivators from wealthy families. Although Luo Ziwen was pretty good and didn't have many of the bad habits of the girls from wealthy families, he still couldn't muster up any interest in this girl. And Su Fan was not a rookie. He had experienced all kinds of erotic scenes, so he was very calm at this time. But Luo Ziwen at this time didn't have as much experience as Su Fan. After all, she was a girl with a love brain, so it was inevitable that she would have wild thoughts in her mind. In those stories she had read, there were such plots as this one. The heroine in the story and an evil big devil were trapped in a disparate situation at the same time, and the two people who were originally strangers secretly fell in love. When Luo Ziwen thought of this, her mind was full of imagination. Unfortunately, this person was not Su Fan. It would be perfect if she and the big devil Su Fan were trapped here. Chapter 878. This can no longer be described as a tycoon. Su Fan's mind was all on the battle outside, so how could he know these bizarre thoughts in Luo Ziwen's mind? After all, it was a duel between two masters of the fusion realm. Although the battlefield of both sides was in the distant sky, the momentum was still extremely shocking. Even though they were underground, they still felt as if the end of the world had come. After a long time, the roars above their heads gradually subsided. Luo Ziwen turned his head and glanced at Su Fan. "Don't worry, wait a little longer." Su Fan sent a thought to the girl, saying that it was better to wait a little longer at this time, because who knows whether the old demon has left or not. After receiving Su Fan's thought in his mind, Luo Ziwen nodded slightly. Although the battle between the two masters of the fusion realm was earth-shattering, cultivators at their level would definitely not fight desperately. Except for the irreconcilable blood feud between each other, they would generally keep a sense of propriety, because there was no need to fight to the death. After all, the big man in the fusion realm who came here was just here to help, so he certainly wouldn't try his best. Of course, if it was the ancestor of Luo Ziwen's family who came, that would be another matter. Therefore, Su Fan was so cautious, fearing that the old ancestor of the Deadwood was hiding nearby. No. The sister once said that the old ancestor of the Deadwood had been injured by her ancestor and could not recover to his full strength for hundreds of years. Thinking of this, Su Fan quickly sent a thought to Luo Ziwen. Did you say that your ancestor had injured that old demon? The sister nodded and replied with a thought. I heard from the ancestor before that he almost killed the old demon, but he used a secret method to escape. The ancestor chased him in several star fields but couldn't find him. After receiving the sister's thought, Su Fan knew what was going on. Even if the big man in the fusion realm who just arrived would not fight with the old demon, the other party would not be able to get away with being seriously injured. Su Fan secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Regardless of the outcome of this great battle, the old ancestor of the dead tree should be able to escape from this place. The two waited for another half an hour, and Luo Ziwen looked at Su Fan again. Let's wait a little longer, let's go out. The old ancestor's friends should be here soon. At this time, Su Fan had no idea what to do. That was a fusion realm old demon. Even if he hid thousands of miles away, he could still sense their aura and could come quickly. If I go out now, what if that old demon didn't go far away? It's okay. I still have a 9th level riding the wind and thousands of miles great teleportation immortal talisman given by the old ancestor. Fuck. He really met a rich man. After all, he is the direct descendant of a fusion realm boss. This girl even has this legendary immortal talisman. Legend has it that this riding the wind and thousands of miles great teleportation immortal talisman can instantly teleport a cultivator to a distance of millions of miles, and even escape from the pursuit of a fusion realm boss. How many good things does this girl have in her hands? Su Fan felt more and more that he was a poor idiot. Then why didn't you use this talisman to escape when you were in the Nine Bends cave? I wanted to. But I didn't dare to use this talisman in a place like the Broken Blade Canyon. There are space cracks everywhere. What if I get sucked in? That's right. In a chaotic space like the Broken Blade Canyon, even the escape technique dare not be used easily, let alone this 9th level riding the wind 10,000 miles great movement immortal talisman. It doesn't matter. Once we leave the Broken Blade Canyon and find a crisis, we will activate the immortal talisman to escape from here. Is a million miles far? That old demon is in the fusion realm. He can catch up in a few dozen breaths. It's okay. I have 3 riding the wind 10,000 miles great movement immortal talismans in my hand. He can't catch up with us even if he is exhausted. This is fucking. The girl's wealth can no longer be described as rich. This 9th level immortal talisman, even if there is only one, can catch up with most of his wealth. Su Fan frowned and hesitated for a while, but finally nodded. The girl took out a ground escape talisman from her ring. She held Su Fan's hand, and then activated the talisman. Su Fan felt a black screen in front of his eyes, and when he recovered again, he found that he had appeared on the ground. At this moment, they were in a deep pit, and the Nine Bends cave under their feet no longer existed. Hundreds of thousands of cultivators in the Nine Bends cave were buried underground, and died in the blink of an eye. It is estimated that there is not even a slag left. If it were not for the life-saving jade pendant given by the sister's ancestor, he would have been buried in this ruin. The surrounding scene was like the end of the world. The straight cliffs of the Broken Blade Canyon collapsed for dozens of miles. The power of the attack of the fusion master can be seen. Let's go up, don't worry. Su Fan looked up after saying that the place where he was standing now was at least several thousand meters away from the edge of the canyon above. Waves of energy flashed faintly in the air around them, like the ripples of a lake. Su Fan took out a Taoist artifact from his ring and threw it into the sky. A dazzling light instantly shot up into the sky. Before the Taoist artifact could reach the sky, it was swallowed up by a space crack. Crack, crack, the sky was like a boiling pot. Dense space cracks began to spread all over the sky, spreading like a spider web, making a series of creepy cracking sounds. The old demon's full strength attack destroyed the surrounding space. Luo Ziwen, who was standing next to him, turned pale with fear. She never thought that the air around her was full of space cracks of all sizes, almost connected into one. If they had taken off rashly just now, they would definitely be cut into pieces by the space cracks. Even so, Su Fan couldn't help but feel a little scared. Fortunately, the space where they were was not destroyed, otherwise the two of them would be miserable. Space cracks are very dangerous. Even if you release your spiritual sense, you can't detect the cracks hidden in the air. If you are not careful, you will be swallowed by it. Now they are trapped here. If they want to get out, they can only explore a little bit. Fortunately, Su Fan had been in the falling star sky ruins for a while, and he had seen this kind of scene in the fragmented space. He stretched out his hand and patted the Yinju secret realm on his waist, releasing ghost soldiers one by one, letting them explore the way ahead. As the ghost soldiers were hidden in the space cracks in the air, it took the two of them a full hour to leave the Broken Blade Canyon. They didn't breathe a sigh of relief until they stood on the edge of the canyon. "Let's go quickly," Su Fan said and turned to leave, but at this moment, his scalp suddenly exploded, and the hairs on his body stood up. "Not good, quickly activate the talisman." Chapter 879, I met another lay Buddhist who asked for money. After hearing Su Fan's words, Luo Ziwen was stunned for a moment before she reacted. She took out the wind thousands of miles great teleportation immortal talisman from her ring and was about to activate it when she heard Su Fan speak again. "Put the talisman away, it's too late." It was not until this time that Luo Ziwen realized that the sky had become pitch black without her knowing when. Moreover, the scene where they were had completely changed, and this space had been isolated from the world. There was endless black magic smoke all around, rolling violently like a boiling pot, and you could vaguely see dense and strange human faces emerging from the mist. You don't have to guess that the two have fallen into the domain of the old ancestor of the dead wood. At this time, even if the 9th level ride the wind thousands of miles great teleportation immortal talisman was activated, it could not escape the domain of the old demon. At this time, a figure slowly walked out of the mist on the opposite side. The other party was thin and dressed in a black robe. His bald head was not shiny but rather dull. His facial features were very old and his face was wrinkled with ravines. Old Ancestor Kurumu looked at the two men with sinister eyes, and there was a hint of excitement in his eyes, as if he was looking at prey. The cultivator in the fusion realm almost ruined his plan, but fortunately, the other party was just here to help and had no intention of fighting him to death. He did not hesitate to use the secret method to take the opportunity to severely injure the other party. Although it aggravated his old injuries again, it also allowed him to escape with serious injuries. In fact, he had already sensed the breath of the girl. How could a direct descendant of the fusion realm boss die so easily? With such a good opportunity, old Ancestor Kurumu certainly didn't want to just kill her to vent his anger. He wanted to capture the girl alive. Unfortunately, the old monster in the fusion realm kept pestering him, and his attack also destroyed the surrounding space. So if he wanted to capture the girl alive, he could only wait for her to run out from underground before taking action. Ever since the only descendant of old Ancestor Kurumu died at the hands of the other party's elders, the blood feud between the two sides could no longer be resolved. Later, the ancestor of the girl's family personally injured him, and he had to flee for several years before escaping the other party's pursuit, which also made old Ancestor Kurumu very angry. If a normal person encounters this situation, he may choose to endure it and wait for a chance to get back at the scene in the future. But old Ancestor Kurumu is an evil cultivator. He originally practiced evil techniques and took the shortcut of worshipping foreign demons to get to where he is today. In fact, every evil cultivator is a mental patient. Their Taoism hearts are already full of holes, and they are deeply influenced by the demon gods in their bodies. They have long become crazy, split, out of control and destructive. Moreover, the state of mind of the evil cultivator is full of obsession. Old Ancestor Kurumu suffered such a big loss, and this matter is like a thorn in his heart. As long as he thinks of this humiliation, he will become crazy and out of control, and can't sleep at night. So over the years, while hiding to heal his wounds, he has been trying to find out all the information about Luo Ziwen's family through various means. This time, Luo Ziwen and her two best friends left the sect and secretly came to the Barra Demon Mountains in Wuyaoshan. Although the family tried their best to block the news, such things could not be concealed for long. So the insider planted by old Ancestor Kurumu and the Luo family passed the news to him. The hiding place of the old demon was not far from Wuyaoshan, and he went to the Demon Mountains without thinking. It turned out that the target had entered the Broken Blade Canyon, and he could not enter because of his high realm, so the following things happened. Now, the two young cultivators in the nascent soul realm are fish on the chopping board in his eyes, just two lambs to be slaughtered. The reason why he wanted to capture this girl alive was to torture her severely. Moreover, he would use the recording instrument to transmit the whole process of torturing this girl to various star fields in the world of cultivation, and humiliate the Luo family at all costs. Only in this way can he dispel the hatred in his heart. At this moment, facing the powerful evil cultivator in the fusion realm, Su Fan did not even have the courage to resist. This is a master of the fusion realm. Although the other party is an evil cultivator, his strength is much weaker than that of a regular fusion realm cultivator. Moreover, he can clearly sense that a breath of the old ancestor of the dead wood is obviously unstable, and he must have been seriously injured. The master of the fusion realm has boundless magic power, but once injured, it is very troublesome. It takes hundreds of years to completely recover from his injuries. But even so, this old demon is also a master of the fusion realm that he must look up to. Even if his strength is less than half, it is no different from killing two ants with your hands if you want to kill them. There is no way, the gap between the two realms is too big. Luo Ziwen is even worse. At this time, she is almost collapsed. The girl can even think of what kind of tragic ending she will face next. Once she falls into the hands of this old demon, Luo Ziwen and her family will bear unimaginable costs and endless humiliation. Take out the Jade Talisman given to you by your ancestor, and when you hear my order, you will immediately activate it. At this time, Luo Ziwen received an idea in his mind. The girl, who was already close to collapse, was stunned. She turned her head and looked at Su Fan with a probing look. You don't want to fall into the hands of the old demon, do you? Of course I don't want to, but that was the old demon in the fusion realm. Not to mention letting her activate the Jade Talisman, the two of them didn't even have the chance to commit suicide now. I don't want to die either, so let's fight. After receiving Su Fan's thoughts, Luo Ziwen couldn't help but smile bitterly. Brother, I want to do it too. Although the Jade Talisman given to me by the ancestor can exert a full strength attack equivalent to the fusion realm. Once the consciousness of the fusion realm boss is released, it is enough to cover a city or a country. But how could the old demon give him the opportunity to activate the Jade Talisman? Even if she just condensed her consciousness, she would be completely suppressed by the old demon. Don't worry about anything else. If I can buy you half a breath of time. Can you activate the Jade Talisman? Almost enough. After receiving the girl's thoughts, although she looked a little reluctant, she didn't care so much. No matter what, she had to try. Being slaughtered by others is not Su Fan's style. Anyway, we are going to die, so it's better to fight once than to stand here and wait for death. Thinking of this, Su Fan took a deep breath, and he shuddered to decide whether it would work or not. Senior, can you help me? He sent a thought to the woman boss, and the other party replied very quickly. You are facing a cultivator in the fusion realm. I can't help you. No need for anything else. Can you make my consciousness stronger in a short time? I can do this, but I have to pay. This is fucking. I actually met another monk who asked for money. Although Su Fan knew that this old bidden wanted to take advantage of the situation, he had no way to deal with it. Tell me the conditions. 2 corpses of cultivators in the refining realm? Why don't you go and rob them? If I die, you won't get a single hair. 1 corpse of a cultivator in the refining realm? No less. Deal. Su Fan knew in his heart that now was not the time to argue with him. He is almost dead, so why should he care about those things? He should just survive this life and death crisis first. I came back late today, so I will update later. I will make up for the chapter I owe tomorrow. Chapter 880. That's the old demon in the fusion realm. Su Fan was ready to fight desperately, while Luo Ziwen beside him was confused. To be honest, she really couldn't think of how to find an opportunity to attack in front of the old demon in the fusion realm opposite. But at this time, the girl had no choice, so she thought about it, and the Jade Talisman given to her by the ancestor was already in her hand. At this time, the blood-colored witch patterns all over Su Fan's body emerged, and then a coolness poured into his body from the top of his head. Boom, his mind suddenly buzzed, and he felt that his sea of consciousness was like exploding. Su Fan pinched a strange finger gesture with his right hand, muttered to himself, and silently recited a complicated and strange spell. The old ancestor of the dead wood opposite felt a trace of spiritual fluctuations, and he frowned, but didn't care too much. After all, these two ant-like things couldn't make any waves in front of him. The old thing is probably about to arrive here, so it's better to detain this girl first to avoid more trouble. As for the little guy next to him, he killed Lian Cheng directly. Thinking of this, the eyes of the old ancestor of the Deadwood condensed, but before he could gather his thoughts, the demon god in his body became agitated at this time. The old ancestor of the Deadwood was caught off guard, and he felt a black screen in front of his eyes, and instantly fell into a short state of unconsciousness. Do it. Hearing Su Fan's roar, Luo Ziwen was stunned for a moment, and then she crushed the Jade talisman in her hand. She was stunned for half a breath. Su Fan thought that the effect of using Rakshasa Dushan crying soul demon sound to deal with the big boss of the fusion realm would definitely be much worse. Who would have thought that the demon god in the body of the evil cultivator of the fusion realm, once awakened by the evil method, would make a lot of noise? After launching the Rakshasa Dushan crying soul demon sound, the old ancestor of the Deadwood actually lost consciousness for 2 breaths. In fact, the old ancestor of the Deadwood already had an old injury, and just now he had a fierce battle with the big boss of the transformation realm, and his injuries were already very serious. He had been suppressing his injuries forcefully, and both his consciousness and body were in a very weak state. At this moment, an extremely dazzling beam of light illuminated the dark demonic domain and instantly swept across the body of the old ancestor of the Deadwood opposite. Facing the full strength attack of the fusion realm cultivator, the old ancestor of the Deadwood, who was in a state of unconsciousness, did not even have the most basic defense. Seeing the dazzling beam of light, Shua swept across the old demon, cutting his body in half. Boom! Immediately followed by a huge roar, the demonic domain of the old ancestor of the Deadwood also shattered. Su Fan's eyes condensed, and he had disappeared from the spot. Bang! He fled in front of the old ancestor of the Deadwood and smashed his head with a punch, and then he breathed a sigh of relief. Seeing the 2 pieces of corpses lying on the ground and the old demon's head blown up by Su Fan, Luo Ziwen was already dumbfounded. It's too easy to digest like that. That was an old demon in the fusion realm. At this time, thick demonic smoke was seen rising from the 2 halves of the corpse of the old man with dead trace. Hurry up and activate the Riding the Wind and Thousands of Miles Great Relocation Immortal Talisman, Su Fan said as he collected the 2 halves of the corpse of the old man with dead trees, and then with a flash of blood on his body, he returned to Luo Ziwen's side. At this time, the girl had already taken out a Riding the Wind and Thousands of Miles Great Relocation Immortal Talisman, and when she saw that Su Fan had returned to her side, she activated the talisman instantly. With a gust of wind, the figures of the 2 had disappeared from the spot. As they had just escaped, the thick demonic smoke had begun to condense and turned into a foreign demon in the fusion realm. The aura of this demon became stronger and stronger, and its body became larger and larger, and finally condensed into a huge demon body of hundreds of feet. Ouch! This foreign demon howled to the sky, and the invisible sound waves rolled around like a substance, turning everything within a radius of hundreds of miles into dust. The demon looked down at the place where the 2 had just disappeared, and was about to use his escape technique to chase them, but he suddenly turned his head and looked at the distant sky. Boom! At this time, with a violent roar that shook the earth, the sky and the earth shook, as if the whole world had exploded. A dazzling light instantly drowned everything, and a tsunami swept across the world like a tsunami. Then a huge palm that covered the sky and the sun, with an indescribable destructive aura, fell from the sky. Boom! At this time, in the sky on the other side, an extremely huge energy ball, containing incredible power, roared and hit like a meteor from afar. Wherever the ball of light passed, all the mountains and forests were swept by a terrifying gust of wind, and instantly turned into dust. Zhang! A sword chant that reached the sky and the earth resounded through the void, shaking the space so much that it was visible to the naked eye. Then a ray of sword light seemed to emerge from the void, tearing the space apart in an instant, and finally like a vast ocean, sweeping up a mighty force, sweeping across like an overwhelming force. The ancestor of Luo Ziwen's family and his 2 friends arrived. If the 2 had waited a little longer, they would not have wasted a 9th level immortal talisman. The demon god in the body of old ancestor of the Deadwood was in bad luck. It had just been awakened by Su Fan not long ago, and its demon body had not yet fully formed, and its strength had barely recovered less than 30%. Facing the full strength attack of the 3 masters of the fusion realm, how could it withstand it? It only took a while for this demon god parasitic in the body of old ancestor of the deadwood to be completely blown up by the three masters of the transformation realm. An old man landed on the ground. He frowned and looked at the place where Su Fan and Luo Zuan had just left, and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. He took off the communication array from his waist, and then sent a message to the girl, but after a long time, he didn't receive a reply. This dead girl. At this moment, the figures of Su Fan and Luo Zuan suddenly appeared in a wound in a mountain forest more than 1,000,000 miles away, and then fell heavily in the dense jungle. The bodies of the two fell on a towering ancient tree with lush branches and leaves, breaking the thick branches one by one with a crackling sound, and then got stuck in the middle of the branches. Su Fan was strong and was fine, but Luo Zuan suffered. The girl was dizzy and almost out of pain. "Ah! It hurts so much. My bones are broken." Hearing the girl's screams, Su Fan broke the branches that entangled him, and then climbed to her side. Su Fan rescued the girl from the lush branches, and then checked her body. He found that she was just a few skin injuries, and he breathed a sigh of relief. "Don't howl. You are fine." After Su Fan finished speaking, his eyes condensed, and he completely let go of his spiritual sense, and he could see everything within a radius of 100 miles. He did not notice any dangerous aura around him, so he jumped down to the ground. Chapter 881 I want to do it too, even in my dreams. Su Fan stepped into the forest, as if he had suddenly entered the evening from the daytime, giving people an unusually cold feeling. The layers of leaves above his head blocked the light tightly, and only a few beams of sunlight occasionally penetrated the blockade of the leaves and shone on the road, forming large and small spots of light. Under his feet were thick layers of fallen leaves piled up together. Because of the erosion of time, they had become a little black, and a smell of decay was slowly evaporating. Luo Zuan also jumped down from above. She rubbed her arms with a grin and looked around with curiosity. "Do you need to activate another riding the wind and thousands of miles great movement immortal talisman?" Su Fan shook his head and said, "We have killed the old ancestor of the dead tree. The demon in his body needs a certain amount of time to condense the demon body. It can't catch up with us, so let's hide here first." After he finished speaking, he stepped on the thick fallen leaves and walked forward. "Hey, where are we going?" Su Fan ignored her and came to a cave after crossing a mountain range. This was a cave he had just discovered with his spiritual sense. After a difficult journey, Luo Zuan finally caught up. Seeing Su Fan enter the cave, he also walked in with his nose covered. "You don't want me to hide here, do you?" Su Fan ignored her and took out a cleaning talisman from his ring. After activating it, the cave was obviously much cleaner. He didn't mind the dirty ground and found a flat place to sit cross-legged. "You should have a secret realm with you. You stay inside. I'll help you guard it outside." The girl took out a secret realm jade key from her ring and threw it to Su Fan. "Hold this for me, I'm going in." After the girl said that, her figure disappeared from the spot, leaving Su Fan dumbfounded. "Do you really trust me so much that you hand over the secret realm jade key to a stranger so easily?" The cultivators in this world of cultivation will not easily lead people into their own secret realms, let alone give the secret realm jade key to strangers. Su Fan shook his head and then pinned the secret realm jade key to his waist. At this time, a thought came to his mind. "Boy, don't forget that you still owe me a corpse of a cultivator in the refining void realm." After receiving the thought from the woman upper realm boss, Su Fan was furious. This old bastard was obviously taking advantage of the situation. "I won't forget. I want to tell you something. It's the corpse of the evil cultivator in the fusion realm. We can make a deal. This old bastard is really calculating." "What are you thinking?" He was ripped off by him, but he still wanted to take advantage of him, so Su Fan's reply was not so polite. "Don't even think about it." Seeing that Su Fan was already a little dissatisfied, the woman upper realm boss suddenly fell silent. He snorted coldly, and then took out a stored ring from his arms. This is the stored ring of the old demon in the fusion realm. Su Fan is full of expectations for what is inside the ring. His eyes condensed, and he scanned the ring with his spiritual sense, and was stunned. This is the stored ring of the old ancestor of the deadwood actually added a restriction, which he could not break with his current spiritual sense. "Let's make a deal. I can help you break the restriction of this ring. If you want me to use the corpse of this fusion realm boss as a material for blood sacrifice, then forget it. What I mean is, with your current realm, if you want to devour the blood of this fusion realm cultivator's corpse, you are afraid that you will explode and die. You think too much. I will wait until I break through the God transformation realm before devouring this corpse. Even if you break through the God transformation realm, you still can't bear the blood of this God transformation realm corpse. After receiving the other party's thoughts, Su Fan couldn't help but worry. What the woman upper realm boss said was right. Last time, he almost became possessed and lost his mind by just swallowing a trace of the ki and blood of a foreign fusion realm demon in the underground demon cave. With his current realm, if he wants to swallow the ki and blood of the old ancestor of the deadwood, he will probably explode and die. Boy, I can help you. How can you help me? You set up a woman blood formation as I said, and then sacrifice the corpse of the evil cultivator in the fusion realm. I will help you peel off some of his blood and let you swallow. This is also a way. Anyway, the ki and blood of the fusion realm boss are very full, and peeling off some of his blood and blood is enough for him to swallow. What are you going to trade with me? Just use the corpse of the refining void realm that you owed me last time. Not enough. At least add 3 more corpses of the refining void realm. No more than 2. Okay, deal. After the 2 reached a deal, the woman upper realm boss began to tempt Su Fan again. You should have reached the time to break through the God transformation realm. I also want to, even in my dreams. It's a pity that there has been no opportunity for a breakthrough. You can't force yourself to break through. Now his realm has accumulated almost enough, and his Deo heart has been almost perfect after so many years of tempering. Especially last time he was forcibly brought into the Deo dream by the ghost demon, his Deo heart has become accommodating, round and flawless. But even so, the cultivators in the world of cultivation must wait for an opportunity before breaking through. If there is no breakthrough opportunity and you force a breakthrough, the probability of breakthrough will be greatly reduced, and the state after the breakthrough will not be comparable to other cultivators of the same level. Senior, I'm waiting for the opportunity to break through. If you believe me, try to devour the corpse of the fusion realm cultivator, and there will definitely be an opportunity for a breakthrough. Is it true? Why would I lie to you? If you devour the blood and ki of that corpse and there is no breakthrough opportunity, I will compensate you with 5 corpses of the refining realm. Su Fan suddenly became energetic, and his heart was like grass growing on the grass, ready to move. Although he is very powerful now, his realm is indeed too low. Even if he wants to deal with a cultivator in the spirit transformation realm, he has to seek help from the big boss of the upper realm of the witch clan. Senior, it's inappropriate for you to let me break through the spirit transformation realm in this place. What's inappropriate? I just checked for you. There are no big monsters within a radius of 100,000 miles. Although the spiritual energy here is a little worse, the blood and ki in the body of the evil cultivator in the fusion realm is enough to make up for the lack of spiritual energy. I have to say that what this old bastard said is indeed quite reasonable. Even in a place with abundant spiritual energy, how can the blood and ki be as pure as the big boss in the fusion realm? Why not give it a try? Seeing that Su Fan was still hesitating, the big boss of the upper realm of the witch clan sent another thought. As long as you set up a witch formation according to what I said, it will not only give you a chance to break through, but also increase your chances of breaking through by 30%. It's too late today. I'll make up for the chapter I owe tomorrow. Chapter 882. Who do you take me for? It must be said that although the woman upper world boss always likes to take advantage of the situation when trading, he is still reliable. If he can really break through the realm of transformation and advance, it is worth it no matter how much he pays. According to the woman upper world boss, using the witch array to sacrifice the old ancestor of the deadwood can not only avoid a large number of expensive cultivation resources, but also increase the chance of breakthrough. Why not do it? Moreover, this place is a remote and poor place even in the burial monster mountain range, and there are no big monsters within a radius of 100,000 miles. Thinking of this, Su Fan made up his mind. Do it. Now his realm is really too low. Now in this world of cultivation, Yuanying realm cultivators are embarrassed to say hello to people when they go out. Moreover, Su Fan now has enemies everywhere, Wangchuan Palace, Shinran Clan and Wu Ai Dao. Just these 3 families have made him scratch his head. This is not to mention the super sect disciples and high-level family children who were killed by the 9th level witch array on the Storm Island Reef. That's more than 1,000 elite monks with extraordinary talents. Any of them has a complicated background. It's just that he is too careless. If someone else offended so many powerful forces at once, why would he still be alive? He might as well just die. If Su Fan breaks through the realm of transformation, his strength will definitely increase significantly. Coupled with the abnormal physical strength and the powerful demon body, he can at least sweep the monks of the same level. As for the girl Luozuan, I'd better wait until I break through before sending her back. Although he killed the physical body of old ancestor of the Deadwood, the great demon of the fusion realm that parasitized in his body has awakened. He doesn't know the situation over at Broken Blade Canyon. Who knows if the great demon of the fusion realm is waiting for him to go back. And now that his identity has been exposed, if his enemies hear the news, they will definitely gather at Broken Blade Canyon and maybe set up a killing trap for him there. It's better to break through the realm of transformation first and increase your strength as much as possible. Su Fan took off the Jade Talisman of Ruai Pavilion from his waist, and then sent a message to Qin Yu. My target and I escaped the pursuit of old ancestor Kirumu, and she is safe now. Daoyao helped a lot this time. Our Ruai Pavilion high level just informed me that your qualification will be adjusted to a bronze customer. Su Fan now has a little understanding of the situation of Ruai Pavilion. Iron customers are generally awarded to casual cultivators in the god transformation realm. Bronze customers are generally strong, or famous casual cultivators in the refining void realm. They are ordinary disciples of middle-level sects and family members. Compared with the current iron customers, the bronze customers of Ruai Pavilion can enjoy better services and will also open a lot of relatively secret information. Fellow Taoist, you are too kind. This is what I should do, fellow Taoist, you can rest assured now. Our golden client has already killed the old ancestor of the dead tree. I wonder when you can return to the Broken Blade Canyon. Damn. That great demon in the fusion realm was unlucky enough. It was probably just awakened and was killed before it fully recovered its strength. Hearing that the great demon had been killed, Su Fan was relieved. Since there is no danger in the Broken Blade Canyon anymore, and the ancestor of Luo Zuan's family has already arrived at the Bear Monster Mountains, let's send the girl back first. I'll go back to the Broken Blade Canyon. After sending a message, he took Luo Zuan's secret jade key from his waist and flicked it lightly with his finger. At this time, Luo Zuan was lying in the boudoir of the secret cave, drinking tea comfortably. Boom, with a dull loud noise, the whole secret realm shook violently, and she was also drenched with tea. Luo Zuan flashed out of the secret realm and pointed at Su Fan and yelled. What are you doing? Tea spilled all over me. Su Fan ignored the other party's reprimand and looked at the girl calmly. Your ancestor is here, we should go back. After hearing Su Fan's words, Luo Zuan's face changed immediately. No, I won't go back. Su Fan rolled his eyes. This girl is simply a spoiled little girl. She is really troublesome. To put it bluntly, she deserves to be punished. I am only responsible for protecting your safety, but I don't have time to accompany you around. Then I don't care. Anyway, I won't go back. I haven't had enough fun. Anyway, there is no danger now. Su Fan didn't have time to waste with her. He still had to break through the spirit transformation realm. It's better to send the girl to her ancestor as soon as possible, and get rid of a trouble. Seeing Luo Zuan making trouble there, Su Fan stretched out his hand and sucked her over before she finished speaking. Su Fan didn't tolerate her bad habits. He grabbed the girl's collar and lifted her up, and was about to leave the cave. Don't catch me. I'll give you a riding the wind and thousands of miles great migration immortal talisman. What the hell? Hearing what the girl said, Su Fan stopped immediately. Who do you think I am? The ancients in the previous life could not bend for a few grains of rice. Am I not as good as those ancients? I have completed the task of protecting your safety and sent you back, too. Before Su Fan finished speaking, the girl interrupted him. Deal. Su Fan agreed without thinking. That was 2 9th level escape talismans. He was not lacking in brains, why not agree? However, you'd better talk to your ancestor first. We are not eloping, at least we should get his permission. The girl stomped her feet after hearing this, then glared at him, turned around and walked out of the cave, and contacted her ancestor. He glanced at the girl's back, then took off the jade talisman of Ruai Pavilion from his waist, and sent another thought to Qin Yu. In order to escape from the pursuit of Old Man with Dead Wood, I used the secret method of bloodburst and suffered some internal injuries. Can I recover for a few days and then send her back? Qin Yu was probably confused when he saw Su Fan's reply. Didn't we just talk fine? How come you are injured again? What the hell is going on? Daoyao, then you can rest assured to heal your wounds. Where are you? I will send someone to pick her up. That won't work. If you send someone to pick her up, The two riding the wind 10,000 miles great movement immortal talisman will be wasted. I am seriously injured now and I am hiding in a secret realm to heal my wounds. Kinyu was dumbfounded when he saw the message sent by Su Fan. What the hell is a secret realm? This guy used to be very reliable, what happened? But before he could reply to Su Fan, he received a message from the gold medal customer, and he immediately understood what was going on. This guy. He must have been bribed by that girl. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 883 That's a blood sacrifice, so exciting. Kinyu smiled bitterly. This guy is a man who won't give up until he sees the rabbit. He must have received a lot of benefits. Anyway, his elders have said that he will stay in the buried monster mountains for a few years and has cancelled the escort mission. Now that the old ancestor of the Deadwood has been killed, and there is an old ancestor in the fusion realm sitting in the buried monster mountains, there is no need to worry about the safety of the girl. Thinking of this, Kinyu sent another message to Su Fan. The gold medal customer just now has cancelled the escort mission, and the commission has been transferred. Su Fan understood as soon as he heard it. Although the other party didn't say anything, he knew in his heart that the girl should have convinced her own ancestor. In any case, the two riding the wind thousands of miles great movement immortal talisman are safe. Then I'm relieved. I'll leave the commission with you first. Su Fan ended the contact with Kinyu and put away the J talisman of Ruai Pavilion. At this time, the girl walked in from outside with a proud look on her face. I just told the ancestor, and he has agreed. From now on, you have to protect my safety. Su Fan refused to do it. I can protect you, but there must be a time limit. How long do you want me to protect you? It won't be too long. Luo Ziwen glared and said with a straight face, do you think I'm stupid? Those are 2 9th level talismans. I can hire anyone outside to get them. Well, if it takes too long, I can't wait. My breakthrough opportunity has come. After hearing Su Fan's words, Luo Ziwen's eyes lit up. You are about to break through the God transformation realm? Seeing Su Fan nod, she laughed and said, I haven't seen anyone break through the God transformation realm yet. It just so happens that I am about to break through, so let me observe and watch. I am walking on the evil path, and your observation is useless. In fact, the witch path itself is a kind of Taoist inheritance between good and evil, and even many of the evil ways are derived from the witch path. So in this world of cultivation, although the witch path will not be suppressed like the evil path, it is particularly unpopular. Besides, with your background, you still need to watch to break through the God transformation realm. Other nascent soul realm cultivators can be said to be in danger of death when breaking through the God transformation realm. But when you break through the God transformation realm, there must be a large group of high-level cultivators protecting you, plus there is no shortage of rare cultivation resources. So this girl must be sure to break through the God transformation realm. My way of breaking through the God transformation realm is different from other cultivators, and it's useless for you to watch. Hearing Su Fan say this, Luo Ziwen immediately became excited. I just want to see something different. If you break through like others, I don't want to watch. Great, I just want to see something different. Su Fan wanted to slap himself in the face. He shouldn't have said this, but it aroused the other party's interest. No. I mean, it was very dangerous when I broke through. Luo Ziwen became more excited when she heard it. What are you afraid of? I can help you protect the way. I'll protect you. This is fucking. This girl is really excited. I mean, when I break through, it will be dangerous for you. Luo Ziwen laughed, then took out various high-level fairy talismans and jade talismans from the ring and showed them to Su Fan. You think too much? I can protect myself. Looking at the various high-level fairy talismans in the girl's hand, Su Fan couldn't help but sigh. He found that this girl was just bored. Okay, if you want to watch, just watch it. I'll make it clear first, no matter what you see at that time, don't make a fuss. The girl shook her head and laughed. Then let's go. I'll help you find a place to break through the spirit transformation realm. Oh, my way of breaking through the spirit transformation realm is different from others. I can do it here. The girl is getting more and more interested now, and she hurriedly urged Su Fan. Hasn't your breakthrough opportunity arrived? Why don't you get ready quickly? The girl's words made Su Fan sigh secretly. He didn't have any breakthrough opportunity. Anyway, don't scare you when the time comes. Thinking of this, he sent a thought to the woman upper realm boss. Senior, I have decided to break through the spirit transformation realm here. Well, then do as I say. Next, Su Fan found a relatively flat valley nearby according to the request of the woman upper realm boss. He first arranged an 8th level defense formation outside the valley, and then summoned Sister Zhen and Yaksha to make extensive changes in the valley. Seeing the ghosts floating all over the valley, the dense and hideous zombies, and countless mechanical puppets, Luo Zuan was almost dumbfounded. What is the origin of this guy? He actually has so many ghosts in his hands. Especially many ghosts and zombies can be seen at a glance that the realm is not low. How many people has he killed? Even those ghost and zombie monks of the super demon sects have not seen so many high-level ghosts in their hands. And those countless mechanical puppets, even her family can't afford so many things. You know, puppets are not cheap, especially those high-level puppets like the 5th and 6th levels, each of which is priced at a sky-high price. Su Fan spent several days, mobilized a large number of ghosts, zombies and puppets, and almost turned the entire valley over, and only then did he meet the requirements for setting up the Witch Gate Array. Next, Su Fan began to set up the Witch Array in the valley. The Witch Gate Array and the Taoist Array are two completely unrelated sects. In comparison, the Taoist Array is more profound. The Witch Gate Array is much rougher, and it looks quite a bit like the style of the Demon Clan, but it is more refined. Su Fan worked day and night for several days and finally finished setting up the Witch Array. Now Luo Zuan is like a follower, following Su Fan every day to make trouble. Brother, what are you doing? Of course I am setting up the array, you are so ignorant, stay away, Luo Zuan sneered secretly after being retorted by Su Fan. Do you think I'm stupid? You are not setting up a formation, you are clearly building an altar. Brother, why do I feel that the formation you set up doesn't look like a serious thing? Go away, you are ignorant, don't make trouble here, go play somewhere else. Luo Zuan curled her lips. She stopped pretending now, and still said that you are not an evil cultivator. Is this guy going to start a blood sacrifice here? Oh my, that's a blood sacrifice. Too exciting. She has never seen a real blood sacrifice in her life. In the past, she often saw many plots describing blood sacrifices in those vernacular novels, and this time she finally saw the real thing. There will be another chapter later. Chapter 884. What do you mean? In fact, it's no wonder that the girl is making a fuss. The witch formation that Su Fan arranged does look quite evil. Anyway, it doesn't look like a serious thing at first glance. At this moment, the valley has completely changed. With the efforts of many ghosts, zombies and puppets, an altar with a radius of several acres has been built in the valley. Su Fan has begun the last step of the witch formation. He holds a large bowl filled with human blood and kneels on the altar to constantly draw various eerie and strange witch patterns. Compared with the meticulousness of the Taoist formation, the witch formation is much rougher. As long as the shape of the witch pattern is roughly drawn, there is no need to deliberately require it to be too neat. If the witch pattern is not drawn well in some places, it can even be reapplied a few times. When the entire witch altar is covered with dense blood witch patterns, the valley is already filled with a strong blood color. Luo Zuan covered his nose with both hands, looking at the weird altar in front of him, feeling extremely excited. Although the bloody smell that hid her made her feel sick, it did not spoil her mood at all. Instead, she became more and more excited. Su Fan finished drawing the last witch pattern and then climbed up from the ground. At this time, his whole body was covered with blood, even his face was bloody, which looked particularly creepy. Puff, Luo Zuan couldn't help laughing when she saw Su Fan's appearance. You still say you are not a big devil, what kind of broken stuff are you practicing? Su Fan was a little embarrassed by the girl's joke, and hurriedly took out a cleaning talisman from the ring to clean the bloodstains on his body. At this time, he didn't have the heart to care about these. Take out another 9,999 corpses of Yuanying realm cultivators and 999 corpses of Huishan realm cultivators, and evenly place them at the edges of the witch formation. At this time, Su Fan received another thought from the big boss of the upper realm of the Witch Gate. What the hell? I was fooled by this old bitch again. He does have so many corpses, but this old bastard never said this before. Senior, you didn't say this before. You said you only needed the corpse of the old man with dead wood. Such a large witch formation, if it directly devours the blood and ki of the fusion realm cultivators, Can you hold on? This is fucking. Why didn't you tell me earlier? You waited until I built this witch formation with great effort before you told me. What do you mean? But now the witch formation has been built, how could Su Fan be willing to stop working? However, it can't just be forgotten like this. Senior, then our deal is not counted. Boy, you can't go back on your words. Stop talking nonsense. You didn't say you needed so many corpses of cultivators. I'm not going to do it. Seeing that Su Fan was irritated, after a long time, the big boss of the upper realm of the witch sect sent a thought. Okay, then let's take the corpses of 3 void refining realm cultivators. Su Fan felt better after receiving the other party's thoughts. In fact, even if that old bitch didn't agree, he wouldn't do anything. After all, he had come this far, so how could he give up? Senior, this is just the first time. Don't do this again, Su Fan said, and then he took out the corpses of cultivators from the Juine's secret realm, and placed them at various places on the edge of the witch formation, according to the other party's request. Seeing the piles of corpses of cultivators on the altar, Luo Zhuan's face turned pale. She had never seen so many dead people. Wow, Luo Zhuan was stunned for a while, turned around and vomited, then covered her mouth and ran to Su Fan's side. These people, all of them were killed by you. Su Fan took out a few more corpses from the Juine's secret realm and threw them at the edge of the witch formation. After hearing what the girl said, he turned his head and looked at him. Well, I participated in the Star Domain War, and I picked these up on the battlefield. After hearing Su Fan's words, Luo Zhuan was speechless. Do you think I'm blind? Although she has never been to the Star Domain battlefield, she has often heard people talk about things there. These corpses are obviously not from the Star Domain battlefield. Seeing that Su Fan didn't want to say it, she didn't want to ask any more. Okay, whatever you say is what it is. However, seeing these piles of corpses, Luo Zhuan felt uncomfortable in her stomach again, and she vomited subconsciously. There must be tens of thousands of corpses of cultivators, which made the girl see what a mountain of corpses looked like for the first time. Are you going to use these people for a blood sacrifice? Humph. And you still say you are not an evil cultivator, you have killed so many people, can you sleep well at night? The girl followed Su Fan's ass and kept nagging, which annoyed him so much that he could only turn around and look at her. Why is it that Su Fan, who has killed so many people, is like a hero in your eyes, but when it comes to me, why do I seem to be unforgivable? After hearing Su Fan's words, Luo Zhuan sneered. You still want to compete with Su Fan, who killed all kinds of people, and look at who you killed. This is so fucking. This is almost catching up with those brainless fans in the previous life, double standards. And the double standard is still one person. Su Fan didn't have time to talk to her. It took a long time just to put more than 10,000 corpses in place. Finally, he put all the corpses of more than 10,000 monks in place according to the requirements of the Witch Gate upper world boss. Su Fan looked around and then came to the center of the witch formation. He took out the 2 pieces of the corpse of the old ancestor of the deadwood from the ring and placed them in the center of the witch formation. Seeing that Su Fan also took out the corpse of the old demon, Luo Zhuan was stunned. Brother, that is a big boss in the fusion realm. No wonder he said that it was very dangerous to break through the god transformation realm. How could it not be dangerous? This guy actually wanted to sacrifice the corpse of the old ancestor of the deadwood. Did he want to die? At this time, Su Fan turned around and glanced at Luo Zhuan. You should leave. Stay away from here for a while. Luo Zhuan listened and said, have you prepared the materials for your breakthrough? If you need anything, just let me know. Although this girl was quite annoying just now, she is a good person. It shouldn't be necessary. The way I break through the god transformation realm is different from others, then I'm leaving. Be careful. I'll protect you outside. After the girl finished speaking, she left the witch formation altar and came to the outside of the valley. She found a hilltop with a better view and stood on it. This guy is evil and doesn't look like a serious thing at first glance. Luo Zhuan thought for a while, took out a jade pendant from the ring and hung it around his neck, then felt a little worried and took out another fairy talisman and slapped it on his body. Boom! At this moment, a dull humming sound was heard, and the valley in the distance suddenly became bloody. I made up for the chapter I owed yesterday. Chapter 885 God doesn't want him to live. At this moment, the valley in the distance was filled with thick blood mist. Even Luo Zhuan, who was hiding in the distance, could clearly smell a bloody smell. Boom! Then, With a violent roar, the blood-colored mist in the valley suddenly spun and instantly turned into a violent hurricane. An unprecedented terrifying momentum suddenly broke out, and the fierce blood-colored hurricane roared and spread around. For a moment, the wind and clouds changed color and the earth shook. After a while, the terrifying blood-colored hurricane swallowed up everything in the valley, and the rocks, ancient trees and sand were also swept up. This terrifying blood-colored hurricane blew more and more fiercely, and slowly expanded to the surroundings, gradually covering all the mountains and forests within a radius of more than 100 miles. The valley in the distance seemed to have turned into an endless tsunami storm, bursting out with a powerful momentum like a mountain and sea, crushing the surroundings. At this time, Luo Ziwen felt that the whole world seemed to be pressing towards her, making her feel an incomparable terror. She felt like a lone boat in a storm, about to be swallowed up by the tsunami that swept over the world at any time. She quickly activated the escape technique and escaped for more than 100 miles, which allowed her to avoid the invasion of the terrifying blood-red hurricane. Boom! Luo Ziwen had just stabilized her body when she heard a loud earth-shaking sound that almost shook her to the ground. Suddenly, an extremely huge blood-red light column fell from the sky, covering the entire valley and the surrounding mountains and forests within a radius of more than 100 miles. In an instant, the whole world seemed to be turning upside down, and time and space seemed to be intertwined and chaotic. In Luo Ziwen's perception, layers of space seemed to be rotating and collapsing, and the entire world was constantly collapsing and reorganizing in chaos. Just as she was stunned, a force as powerful as a mountain and sea rushed towards her, and the girl was immediately smashed out. Pa! A jade pendant on Luo Ziwen's chest suddenly shattered, and a spiritual shield instantly formed to cover her, so that she was not hurt. But even so, Luo Ziwen was still blown away more than 10 miles away, which made her dizzy and lost her soul. Without thinking, she quickly activated the escape technique again, and escaped dozens of miles away in a flash. Only then did she feel relieved. Big brother, what on earth do you want to do? You are not breaking through the realm of transformation. Even if you break through the realm of refining emptiness, there is no need to make such a big noise. Even if she has not eaten fat pork, she has seen fat pigs run. Although she has not watched others break through the realm of transformation, she has heard some of it. At least she knows the general process. Like those disciples of super sex or children of high-level families, when they break through the realm of transformation, they will break through in a specially set-up formation. What she can't understand the most is that it takes some time for others to break through the realm of transformation. 10 days and a half months at the shortest, 3 to 5 years at the longest, but this guy made such a big noise just by farting. And judging from what he said, he should be about to make a breakthrough. As expected by Luo Ziwen. After only a moment, the huge blood-colored light column began to gradually dim. The sky, which was originally clear and blue, became overcast from some point. There were flashes of light from time to time in the dark clouds, and there were dull and depressing sounds echoing between heaven and earth, and the frequency of the light that rose and fell was getting faster and faster. Everything seemed like a precursor to the coming of doomsday. The dark clouds kept rolling and surging, and arcs as thick as arms kept rolling in the dark clouds, and every flash would make a rumbling thunder. At this moment, the sky within a radius of thousands of miles was like night, and it was almost pitch dark. Boom! At this moment, the huge blood-colored light column suddenly shattered, and the valley in the distance was like a huge centrifuge, instantly sucking away the rich blood energy that permeated hundreds of miles. Then, all the spiritual energy within a radius of 10,000 miles, in the blink of an eye, gathered around the valley, and was instantly sucked away by a huge suction force. At this moment, the dull sound echoing in the dark clouds became more and more intense, and the frequency of the light that suddenly rose and fell became faster and faster. Everything seemed like a precursor to the coming of doomsday. Looking at the dark clouds in the sky, Luo Ziwen's heart was in his throat. It is said that cultivators who have broken through the realm of transformation need to go through 9 layers of heavenly tribulation. Although there is only 1 thunderbolt in each layer of heavenly tribulation, these 9 thunderbolts are not a joke, and they can really kill people. Among the cultivators in the nascent soul realm who break through the realm of transformation, only 1 in 10 survives. It means literally that 1 out of 10 will not survive. To put it bluntly, it is either breakthrough or death. The world of cultivation is so cruel. Only when a cultivator breaks through to the God transformation realm can he be considered a high-level cultivator in this world. Even if he is half a step into the God transformation realm, he can only be considered a quasi-high-level cultivator. Once a cultivator breaks through to the God transformation realm, he can find a place to open a sect or establish a family. Although Luo Ziwen has never watched others break through the God transformation realm, she doesn't know why she feels that the atmosphere at this moment is extremely depressing. Especially the thunder that is brewing in the rolling thunder clouds in the sky, making her feel as if some great terror is about to cross the boundary and fall, as if the sky is falling and the earth is collapsing. The terrifying roar continued to sound, as if there were thousands of troops galloping, and the whole world seemed to tremble. The low dark clouds were mighty, like a surging tide, and countless lightnings intersected, striking out brilliant and dazzling arcs. This feeling made the girl feel terrified and depressed. There was a sudden silence between heaven and earth. Crack, with a flash of lightning, the dark world suddenly became as bright as day. The lightning was as dazzling as the sun, almost burning people's senses, filling the entire world. The terrifying and invisible pressure swept in all directions. Boom, then, from the dark clouds in the sky that were like boiling water, a terrifying and earth-shaking noise suddenly came. An extremely thick dark purple thunderbolt instantly fell from the sky, whistling and striking the valley in the distance. Luo Ziwen quickly covered her ears. She stared at the thick dark purple thunderbolt in amazement. It's over. Give up, and collect this guy's body later. Such a powerful thunderbolt, let alone seeing it, she has never even heard of it. Did this guy offend the Taoist? Looking at the situation today, God doesn't want him to live at all. There will be another chapter later. Chapter 886 Brother, what are you trying to do? At this moment, the thick thunderbolt had already roared down and directly hit the sky above the valley in the distance. Boom! As a dull humming sound sounded, Luo Ziwen felt an unprecedented palpitation suddenly descended on her heart. It was as if some prehistoric beast suddenly awakened from the dark, bringing her an extremely terrifying sense of oppression. Whoa! Then a huge phantom hundreds of feet high suddenly stood between heaven and earth. Luo Ziwen felt that the whole scene between heaven and earth changed. She seemed to be in a desolate wilderness, and the wild breath came to her face. It was a phantom from the ancient beast Kang Shang. Its thick body twisted violently and slammed into the thunderbolt. Boom boom boom, the phantom of Kang Shang standing between heaven and earth was instantly destroyed by the extremely thick dark purple thunderbolt. The whole world was shaking violently, and the mountains were turbulent, as if a magnitude 10 earthquake had occurred. Despite the protection of the 8th level immortal talisman, Luo Ziwen was still shocked to the point of blood surging, dizziness, and numbness in his eardrums. He used the escape technique again and retreated dozens of miles. It's over. I'm afraid that guy will be left with nothing. Don't look at the ninefold heavenly tribulation of breaking through the spirit transformation realm. Each level has only one tribulation thunder. But even if the 99 or 80 heavenly thunders of the Yuanying realm are tied together, they are not as powerful as 1% of this one. Just as Luo Ziwen was thinking wildly, the dark thunder clouds in the sky did not dissipate, but became unusually calm, and even the sizzling sound of thunder and lightning disappeared. The dark clouds in the extremely dense thunder clouds were still rolling violently, and the whole world seemed to have suddenly lost its voice. Although the sky fell into a strange calm, Luo Ziwen knew in his heart that the thunder clouds were brewing the second level of tribulation thunder. The rolling dark clouds seemed to hide some terrifying aura, which made the void tremble, and Luo Ziwen felt a sense of fear in his heart. Although the atmosphere between heaven and earth was extremely depressing at this time, it also showed that the guy was at least still alive. Suddenly, a dazzling white light instantly penetrated the heaven and earth. It was silent and it was as if the world was completely annihilated. The void above the valley was distorted, as if it would collapse in the next moment. Boom! Then there was a shocking explosion, and the sound waves visible to the naked eye set off a violent storm. Then an extremely violent deep purple thunder roared down and smashed towards the valley in the distance. Looking at this deep purple thunder that was like destroying the world, even though it was more than 100 miles away, Luo Ziwen couldn't help but feel a little frightened. If every nascent soul cultivator had to face such a terrifying thunder when breaking through the God transformation realm, she would rather not break through. The girl knew very well that in the face of such a brutal thunder tribulation, let alone the 9-layer heavenly tribulation, she couldn't even withstand 1 layer. Ouch! At this time, another terrifying roar came from the valley in the distance. Then a phantom of an ancient beast dragon elephant, hundreds of feet tall, rose up in an instant and crashed into the terrifying thunder. Boom! The phantom of the dragon elephant, hundreds of feet tall, shattered with a horrifying roar. The aftermath of the explosion almost overturned the valley, and the whole world shook violently. The terrifying mighty force rolled up a terrifying storm that penetrated the sky and the earth, and a visible airflow swept in all directions. The terrifying impact of the violent airflows caused the entire world, within a radius of dozens of miles, to vibrate violently. Luo Ziwen put down his hands covering his ears and looked at the valley in the distance with a shocked face. This time, that guy should have been smashed to pieces. The thunder just now was much more powerful than the first one. Not to mention that he was a Yuanying realm cultivator, even the old monster in the Huishan realm could not withstand it. However, when she saw that the thunder clouds did not dissipate, the girl breathed a sigh of relief. But Luo Ziwen didn't have much confidence in Su Fan. He had only survived 2 of the 9 heavenly tribulations. The power of the subsequent tribulations would definitely be stronger and stronger. She was already planning to collect the body of that guy. Luo Ziwen never thought that the first time she protected someone in her lifetime, she would have to collect the body of this guy. At this time, the communication array disc on her waist vibrated slightly. Luo Ziwen took off the communication array disc from her waist and took a look. She found that it was a message from the ancestor. "Girl, where are you? There may be a 7th level monster in the Burial Monster Mountain range who is going through the tribulation. You must not go over there." Seeing the message from the ancestor, the girl was stunned. The monster that the ancestor said was going through the tribulation, could it be this guy? "Ancestor, the one who is going through the tribulation you are talking about is not a big demon, but a friend of mine who is breaking through the God transformation realm." "What did you say? It's a friend of yours who is breaking through the God transformation realm?" "Yes. I am protecting him. I guess he can't bear it anymore. Breaking through the God transformation realm can cause such a big commotion." "Where are you? I'll go over and take a look." Luo Ziwen reported the location to the ancestor roughly, and then put away the communication array disc. The girl just hung the communication array disc on her waist, and was dizzy and almost deafened by a loud explosion. She quickly covered her ears with both hands to welcome the loud noise of the tribulation thunder. Boom boom, with a deafening and earth-shaking sound, the 3rd tribulation thunder arrived as expected. Looking at the tribulation thunder that was far more powerful than the previous one, Luo Ziwen couldn't help but sigh, hoping that this guy could survive this time. Awoo! At this time, a terrifying roar came from the valley in the distance. A shadow of a demonized Queen Yu, hundreds of feet high, suddenly rose up, standing between heaven and earth, and then raised its head and crashed into the terrifying thunderbolt. Boom! The demonized Queen Yu crashed into the terrifying thunderbolt, and instantly collapsed, producing a huge explosion like Mars hitting the earth. The aftermath of the explosion was like a tsunami, sweeping around. The annihilation force formed by the terrifying shock wave raged wildly. And the mountains and forests within 1,000 miles were instantly crushed to pieces by a terrifying force. Luo Ziwen was also shocked back several miles away by a powerful impact force, and then he stabilized his body. "Brother, what are you trying to do? What kind of evil things have you done? This is too scary. Although others are also in danger when breaking through the God transformation realm, it's good for you. God doesn't even want to give you a way out." Chapter 887. There is no one else except this guy. At this moment, the boiling thunder clouds in the sky seemed to be enraged. Lightning arcs continued to burst in the thick dark clouds, and the dazzling light illuminated most of the sky, and the entire dark sky seemed to be torn to pieces. The dark night sky, rolling with clouds like boiling water, gave people the illusion of collapse. The thick dark clouds stirred the sky within a radius of thousands of miles into a boiling ball, and continuously emitted sharp and piercing sonic booms. Suddenly, an extremely dazzling light flashed by, followed by a shocking explosion. Boom boom, a deafening explosion suddenly struck, and the 4th heavenly tribulation came down as promised. An extremely thick deep purple thunder seemed to have found a channel for venting, instantly tearing through the dark void, and violently falling from the sky. The first 3 thunder tribulations added together could not catch up with the terrifying power of the 4th thunder tribulation, which was like the collapse of the sky and the earth. The extremely thick, deep purple thunder roared and struck the valley in the distance. Luo Ziwen stared at the deep purple thunder that fell from the sky with his mouth open. This guy is finished. Although Su Fan survived the first 3 thunder tribulations, he was probably in trouble judging by the ferocity of the 4th thunder tribulation. Awoo! At this time, a shocking roar suddenly came from the valley in the distance. A phantom of an ancient violent tiger hundreds of feet high suddenly appeared and roared to the sky. Not only that, the moment the phantom of the ancient violent tiger appeared, the scenery within 1,000 miles also changed. The mountain forest that was originally destroyed like the end of the world instantly turned into an endless wilderness, and a desolate atmosphere was everywhere. Then, this ancient fierce beast, the violent tiger, appeared all over its body, and fine black scales surged wildly, constantly drilling out from every corner of the demon body, bursting out with incomparable terrifying power. Ka. Ka. One after another, hideous bone spurs squeezed out from the joints of the demonized violent tiger, and each key part formed a piece of rough armor. On both sides of the huge tiger head, 2 hideous horns were drilled out. Awoo! The demonized violent tiger roared to the sky again, and the evil power like a tide suddenly swept out. This terrifying sound was heard far away, with a faint low wail, a gloomy breath and a fierce killing intent. The ancient violent tiger, which was hundreds of feet tall in the demonized state, suddenly bent its body, and the joints all over its body made a series of crackling sounds. Facing the brutal and violent thunder of heaven and earth, the demonized ancient violent tiger was not afraid. Bang! Its body shook violently, and it suddenly popped out like a big bow, making a soul-stirring buzzing sound, and a thick and ferocious giant arm smashed towards the whistling thunder of heaven and earth. Boom boom boom, the violent purple lightning was instantly destroyed by the destructive thunder, but at the same time, it also destroyed the fourth thunder. The heavenly tribulation of the spiritual transformation realm is not comparable to the breakthrough of the nascent soul realm. Although there are only 9 thunder tribulations, the power is simply a big witch compared to a small witch. Is this guy a demon? Although Luo Ziwen felt that the hundreds of feet long demonized violent tiger phantom was very handsome, she couldn't help but talk to herself. He is a pure human. At this time, a voice appeared behind the girl, which scared her. Luo Ziwen turned around and saw an old man standing behind her. The old man had a simple appearance and a majestic temperament. He was wearing a plain cloth and his sparse white hair was scattered on his shoulders like a ginseng beard. Ancestor, when did you come? Luo Ziwen hurried over and hugged the old man's arm affectionately and shook it a few times. You damn girl, you are getting more and more presumptuous. After being scolded by the ancestor, the girl was not afraid, but pouted her lips in grievance. Old ancestor, the old man couldn't stand the girl like this, and there was nothing he could do. Okay. I won't say anything to you. There was no way. He liked this girl in the whole family, no matter when, as long as she appeared by his side. The old man felt inexplicably comfortable. How did you get mixed up with this little devil? What big devil? Did you arrange him to protect me? Fortunately, he has him, otherwise I won't be able to see you. The old man was stunned after hearing it, but then he understood the reason. How did you two destroy the physical body of the deadwood ancestor? After listening to the words of the ancestor, Luo Ziwen told the whole situation at that time. After listening to the girl's narration, the old man's face became solemn. It seems that the situation at that time was quite dangerous. Fortunately, there was this little devil, otherwise this little girl of his family would be miserable. In fact, the old man had a good impression of Su Fan. Although he was vilified by the outside world, a cultivator like him who stood at the top of the human race knew all these things. In their world, there was no other cultivator with a demon seed except this kid. Anyone who knew what a demon seed was would not know to provoke him, which would be simply uncomfortable. To be honest, even he didn't want to have any cause and effect with this kid. But no matter what, he saved his own girl, so he couldn't escape this favor. Of course, he couldn't help him break through the realm of transformation, so he had to rely on himself. The way of heaven never tolerates your faults. If he dared to reach out, the next thunder would come down, which would be a monstrous catastrophe of the level of the fusion realm. At this time, the dark thunder clouds in the sky were still rolling slowly, and gradually formed a huge black cloud vortex. The black cloud vortex was filled with flashes of lightning, as if there was an incomparable horror that was about to descend from the vortex to the world. The immense pressure that loomed over them gave rise to a feeling of being extremely humble and insignificant. Boom! Then there was a shocking explosion, and the sound waves visible to the naked eye set off a violent storm, and the fifth heavenly tribulation began. Another extremely terrifying deep purple thunder roared down and smashed fiercely towards the valley in the distance. Although this heavenly thunder was nothing in the eyes of the old man, it still made him frown. After all, he was a demon with a demon seed, and even the heaven did not like him. This level of tribulation thunder Even the cultivators in the late stage of the spiritualization realm, or even the half-step void refining realm, might not dare to take it. Oh woo! At this time, another soul-stirring roar came from the valley in the distance. The phantom of a demonized ancient stone ape hundreds of feet high rose into the air, waving its extremely thick ape arms and smashing hard at the heavenly thunder. Boom! The ferocious and terrifying phantom of the demonized ancient stone ape collided fiercely with the heavenly thunder, and exploded almost at the same time. It was like two powerful waves colliding with each other, and finally condensed into a huge wave, bringing an extremely terrifying impact, rushing in all directions recklessly. Luo Zuan was once again shocked back by a huge shock wave. Fortunately, her ancestor was by her side, and he stabilized her body with a wave of his hand. I didn't expect that this kid's law power was so pure. Even the cultivators who broke through the refining realm for many years did not understand it as thoroughly as he did. It's okay that his body is abnormal, but his understanding is so against the sky. What a monster. Chapter 888, Success or Failure Depends on This Move. Seeing the ancestor's solemn expression, Luo Zuan asked in confusion. Ancestor, is this guy very powerful? After hearing what his little girl said, the old man was stunned for a moment, but then he understood that she didn't know the identity of this little devil. He is the big devil in the legend outside, Su Fan, what the hell? After hearing what his ancestor said, Luo Zuan couldn't help but be stunned. She stood there with a dull face, and for a moment she had an illusion that this world was not real. Seeing the girl's dull and confused look, the old man thought that the girl was scared. After all, Su Fan's reputation in the world of cultivation is not very good. He is definitely a cruel and brutal devil who kills people without blinking an eye. But the old man didn't know that his little girl looked pure, well-behaved and cute, but in fact she had a dark heart. Don't be afraid. In fact, most of the rumors outside are not true. This guy is a good person except that he is a bit murderous. As long as you don't provoke him, there will be no problem. After hearing the words of her ancestor, the sister hurriedly pretended to be a survivor. I didn't expect that he was the big devil. I was scared to death. Although she said so, she was very excited in her heart. Meow. Meow. I didn't expect that I would actually meet the big devil. At this moment, the sister was like a chicken blood, so excited that her nose was about to bleed. She also secretly cursed herself for being stupid. In fact, this guy had already revealed many clues, but it was a pity that she didn't think about it at all. At this time, when Luo Zuan looked at the valley in the distance again, her heart was already in her throat. She was a little worried just now. After all, this guy saved her. Now it's different. This big devil must not die. Ancestor, do you think this guy can survive this heavenly tribulation? After hearing what the girl said, the old man shook his head. I can see it from others, but I dare not say this boy. He has a demon seed, which is against the will of heaven. Every breakthrough is a dangerous catastrophe. After hearing this, Luo Zuan became nervous. Brother, please don't die. Just when the girl was so nervous, an extremely resentful and oppressive breath instantly spread from a distance. The time of the whole world seemed to have stopped, and Luo Zuan couldn't help but feel an inexplicable resentment in his heart. Her eyes became red like blood, and all kinds of negative emotions such as sadness, annoyance, sadness, anxiety, inferiority, depression, pessimism, despair, etc. kept flashing in his mind. When the girl was about to be possessed by the devil, the old man flicked her forehead with his finger. Ancestor, why did you hit me? The old man did not explain to her. There was a playful look in his eyes, and he looked at the valley in the distance with a smile. Of course, he knew that the boy was gathering strength, but he did not expect that this grief and anger would cover thousands of miles. If this boy grows up in the future, he will definitely be extraordinary. Anyway, I have already owed him a favor, so I might as well take this opportunity to make a good relationship with him. At this moment, the dark thunder clouds in the sky did not dissipate, but became unusually calm, and even the original sizzling sound of thunder and lightning in the clouds disappeared. The dark clouds and the thick thunder clouds were still rolling violently, and the whole world seemed to have suddenly lost its voice. Although the sky fell into a strange calm, Luo Zai became more and more worried. She knew in her heart that this was just the thunder cloud brewing the sixth thunder. Suddenly, an extremely dazzling flash of lightning flashed across the dark night sky, and the sky and the earth suddenly became as bright as day, followed by a deafening explosion. Boom! With a huge roar that shocked the whole area, a purple thunder that was thicker than before roared down from the sky. Looking at the terrifying thunder of heaven and earth, Luo Zuan's heart was clenched together, and his forehead was full of sweat. Swish! At this time, a sharp sword light flashed, roaring through the void with a majestic murderous aura. This rage slash swept through the void, slashing down with a strong force of law, as if to split the entire world in half. The mysterious power of the law distorted the surrounding space, and the invisible ripples that were oscillating in all directions, roaring down like a tide. Boom boom, the extremely dazzling sword light fiercely collided with the deep purple thunder of heaven and earth, and the sword light and thunder almost broke and shattered at the same time. The violent collision instantly caused a huge explosion, and the air within a radius of several miles was swept away. The aftermath of the explosion was raging wildly, and it was more like a 12-level violent tornado on the ground. All the dense forests and boulders were instantly swept by a layer of terrifying strong wind, and they were crushed into powder. The mountains within a radius of thousands of miles seemed to be shaken. Seeing that Su Fan survived the crazy and brutal 6th level of heavenly tribulation, Luo Zuan immediately breathed a sigh of relief. She was so nervous just now, fearing that the guy would be struck into ashes by the thunder. Ancestor, can he survive? I don't know, but this kid is on the path of ancient body cultivation, and the sword just now was quite interesting. Hearing her own ancestor say this, Luo Zuan felt a little bit of awe. Ancestor, is the ancient physical cultivation very powerful? It was very powerful in ancient times, but no one has practiced it now. If he doesn't die, I want to see how far he can go in the end. Then, the 7th and 8th heavenly tribulations fell one after another, but they were all resisted by Su Fan with sword moves containing the power of the law. But even Luo Zuan could feel that this guy was becoming more and more powerless. Her heart was ups and downs like a roller coaster, and after a while, her robes were soaked with cold sweat. Especially when he used his sword to resist the 8th thunder of the tribulation, he did not completely destroy this thunder, and it fell into the valley in the distance. If the thunderclouds in the sky had not dispersed, she would have wanted to rush over to see what was going on. At this moment, the silver-purple lightning in the sky was jumping through the clouds, like a wild python dancing wildly, emitting deafening thunder that spread hundreds of thousands of miles away. The extremely violent aura of heaven and earth almost caused a riot in the area of nearly 10,000 miles. The whole world was shaking violently, and the invisible and intangible air was distorted, with an unsettling atmosphere. Luo Zuan also felt the restlessness between heaven and earth. She turned her head and looked at her ancestor. The old man said solemnly, "Next, it depends on whether he can survive the last heavenly tribulation. Success or failure depends on this." Chapter 889. I wish this guy wasn't dead. With a shocking explosion, dazzling lightning flashed, and the dark sky was suddenly illuminated as bright as day. Boom! A terrifying and violent roar followed, and the whole world shook violently. The sky was shattered, and the dark sky was torn apart, as if an incomparable destruction was coming. Suddenly, an unprecedented deep purple thunder roared from the sky and hit the valley in the distance. Seeing this incomparable deep purple thunder, Luo Zuan's heart was lifted again. The girl clenched her fists nervously, and kept praying to the Taoist in her heart. You must make it through. Seeing the 9th thunder of the thunder that fell from the sky, even her ancestor in the fusion realm couldn't help but frown. This level of heavenly tribulation is not a thunder that a cultivator can withstand when breaking through the spirit transformation realm. This kid has a demon seed and a murderous nature. Even the heavenly way doesn't like him. I just don't know if he can make it through. However, if this kid survives this, he will surely be invincible in the same level in a few years. What a monster. Awoo. At this time, a shocking roar came from the valley in the distance. With a burst of dark and thick demonic smoke, a huge demon body of more than 100 feet rose into the sky and stood between heaven and earth. This huge demon body was seen holding a dark sword of more than 10 feet long, and then raised it high. Hey! Looking at Su Fan after the demonization, Luo Zuan looked disgusted. Ancestor, how did he become so ugly? That is the blood fusion secret technique of the demon sect, the demonic sect, and the demonic sect. This kid has a good chance. He actually swallowed and fused a trace of the blood of the foreign fusion realm demon. At this point, the old man frowned. This kid is really fierce. A mere Yuanying realm cultivator dared to swallow the blood of the demon. Isn't he afraid of becoming a demon? Zhang. At this time, a sword chant that reached the sky and the earth resounded through the void. The entire space was shaken by the extremely piercing whistling sound, and it was trembling visible to the naked eye. I saw a sword light with a mysterious power of the law, as if it was born from nothingness, and it cut through the space and tore the darkness in an instant. With a majestic momentum like a tidal wave, it swept up the mighty power and flashed by. The scenery within a radius of thousands of miles instantly turned into void, and countless sharp edges were entangled like lightning, constantly colliding and entangled, making a piercing whistle. Wherever it passed, the surrounding space was distorted, and the invisible ripples oscillated in all directions, whistling and falling towards the front like a tidal wave. The extremely cold murderous aura was everywhere, and even Luo Ziwen, who was more than 100 miles away, could clearly feel this murderous aura as if it were real. At this moment, the air around seemed to have become sharp. Although she was aware of the danger, the girl had no time to react. Fortunately, his ancestor waved his hand, and an invisible and intangible transparent barrier blocked in front of him. Pa! Pa! With a series of crackling sounds, the invisible and intangible transparent barrier in front of him blocked the sharp edges. The old man couldn't help but be a little surprised. This sword light with rich law power. The cultivator of the transformation realm might not be able to take it. Boom! The mysterious sword light fiercely slashed on the ninth thunderbolt. The vast and terrifying power was like a huge force that turned the mountains and rivers upside down, and it overturned the world. The aftermath of the explosion formed a world-destroying annihilation force, sweeping around like a terrifying hurricane. The incomparable and majestic aura of destruction almost shattered the void, and the space was like a mirror with ripples, and dense spider web-like cracks spread everywhere in the sky. The terrifying storm raged wildly, and the invisible and intangible transparent barrier in front of Luo Ziwen was violently swollen. She subconsciously raised her hand to block her eyes. At this time, the valley in the distance was already filled with dust and smoke. Ancestor, is he okay? Don't worry, this kid is very tough. He can withstand this level of heavenly tribulation. After hearing the words of the ancestor, Luo Ziwen breathed a sigh of relief. The girl patted her chest. Her nervous heart was about to jump out of her chest. Then came a huge surprise. The pores all over her body seemed to relax all of a sudden. It was not until this time that Luo Ziwen realized that her palms were full of sweat and her robes were soaked with cold sweat. It's good that this guy is not dead. At this time, the old man's eyes condensed, and then he turned his head and looked into the distance. He waved his hand lightly, and saw a series of formation flags whistling out of his hand. After a while, he arranged a 9-level defense formation, covering the valley in the distance. Aren't you protecting him? Take this array plate. A few fellow Daoists are coming. I'll go meet them, then can I go over to see him now? He just broke through. Don't go over yet. After Luo Ziwen's ancestor finished speaking, his figure disappeared from the air. Su Fan's noise just now was quite loud, and it also attracted several nearby masters of the refining realm and the combination realm. Now that Luo Ziwen's ancestor has come forward, it can be regarded as a merit of protecting this kid. After her ancestor left, the sister looked up. At this time, the calamity clouds in the sky had gradually dissipated, turning into a drizzle of rain. Luo Ziwen found a place, sat down cross-legged, and stared blankly at the valley in the distance with his hands on his chin. At this time, when the sister thought of Su Fan, her mind was full of all kinds of bloody plots in the storybook. Luo Ziwen couldn't help laughing as she thought about it, and after a while, her face was inexplicably full of melancholy, and her eyes were red. She was like a mental patient, sometimes happy and excited, sometimes complaining about herself. Anyway, her mind was full of drama. There was no way. Love Brain was incurable. Are you going back with me, or are you going to continue to protect this guy? At this time, the voice of the ancestor suddenly came from behind Luo Ziwen, which scared the girl who was thinking wildly. Ancestor, when did you come back? You scared me. I've been back for a while. After the old man finished speaking, he glanced at the valley in the distance, and then pondered for a moment. I have to go. You stay here by yourself. It's a rare opportunity to come to Wu Ai Ocean, and it's just right to get together with some old friends. Ancestor, when are you going back? No hurry, it will take at least 2 or 3 years. I'll pick you up when you leave. The girl was secretly happy when she heard it, so she could stay with that guy for a long time. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 890. It should be you who saved me, okay? At this moment, Su Fan sat cross-legged in the valley with his eyes closed. The original woman formation had long since disappeared. The mountains and forests around the valley, which were nearly 10,000 miles in radius, no longer existed, as if a layer had been scraped off, a scene like the end of the world. There was a drizzle of rain in the sky, dripping on the ground. The dense grass drilled out of the soil at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the originally mottled ground was slowly covered with a piece of green, and the whole world became full of vitality. It was unknown how long it took before Su Fan slowly opened his eyes. He exhaled a long breath of foul air, like a sword of air, which instantly cut through the air and made a dazzling whistling sound. Boom! The sword of air hit a mountain peak dozens of miles away, making a deafening noise. Just a breath of foul air exhaled casually, it was almost as powerful as the flying sword. It may be because he devoured the blood of the old man with dead wood, a master of the fusion realm, that he has just broken through to the peak of the early stage of the transformation realm. This saved him hundreds of years of hard work. If other cultivators knew this, they would be so frustrated that they would die. This time, the breakthrough to the transformation realm was relatively smooth because of the help of the master of the woman upper realm. But when he was crossing the heavenly tribulation, he was still surrounded by danger. The 9 terrifying tribulation thunders were more brutal than the last, and I still feel scared when I think about it. Su Fan also tried his best to survive this heavenly tribulation. Especially when the 9th tribulation thunder struck, he didn't know if he could bear it. Su Fan's eyes condensed, and 6 halos of different colors emerged from his body, then flashed a few times and sank into his body. He used his spiritual sense to scan his body, and the little man in his body had disappeared. Instead, a dense fog appeared, and 6 colored halos were spinning in the fog. The fog had already taken on the shape of some people, and would gradually condense into Yuanshan exactly like Su Fan. After breaking through the realm of transformation, the Yuanying in the cultivator's body would dissolve, and then be nurtured silently, and then slowly transformed into Yuanshan. When a cultivator reaches the realm of transformation, he is already considered a high-end combat force in this world. A cultivator in the realm of transformation can already have a preliminary glimpse of some of the secrets of this world of cultivation, and will also have a preliminary grasp of some of the power of the rules of heaven and earth, such as comprehending the power of laws. Although Su Fan could also forcibly raise his realm to the realm of transformation with the help of the big boss of the upper realm of the Witch Gate before. But it was not until he really broke through to the realm of transformation that he deeply realized the huge gap between the two. However, at this moment, Su Fan felt that his current strength was much stronger than when he forcibly raised his realm before, and it was the kind of all-round strength. After breaking through the realm of transformation, Su Fan's lifespan will reach thousands of years, and both his consciousness and mana will be greatly improved. In particular, his soul has become many times stronger. And the Purple Palace alone has expanded several times more. His consciousness can cover nearly 10,000 miles, and even the condensed divine thoughts can extend hundreds of miles away. Because of practicing the Dragon Elephant Swallowing Yuan training blood mysterious art, after 3 rounds of tempering the trace of great demon blood in his body, the influence of demonization that has been bothering him has been almost unnoticed. Now his Tao heart is extremely harmonious, and his state of mind is unprecedentedly transparent, almost without a trace of dust. Su Fan's Danshan has also expanded a lot. If the previous Danshan can be compared to a lake, it is now the sea, with endless surging mana. Moreover, the mana is extremely condensed and heavy, and the effect of performing Taoist magic now is no longer the same. Now that he has just successfully broken through, it will take some time to consolidate the foundation, and his data in all aspects will slowly improve a lot. Not only that, after breaking through the realm of transformation, Su Fan's physical strength has also been greatly improved. He raised his right hand and clenched his fist, feeling an unprecedented power. Even a casual wave of his hand could split mountains and seas. Su Fan stood up from the ground, and as soon as he thought, thick magic smoke began to permeate his whole body. In a flash, he turned into a huge demon body nearly 200 feet tall. At this moment, after turning into a demon body, Su Fan felt that he was stronger than ever before. Compared with the past, he could clearly sense that his strength had increased by at least dozens of times. And Su Fan had a vague guess, that is, although he had just broken through the realm of transformation, his strength seemed to be much stronger than that of the cultivators of the same level. because he had fought with many cultivators of the same level, but he felt that the strength of those cultivators in the realm of transformation was just so-so. But now his strength is far greater than when he was forcibly promoted to the realm of transformation through the big boss of the upper realm of the Witch Gate. As soon as Su Fan thought, the huge demon body had returned to the true body of the human race. Just when he wanted to continue to explore the changes after the breakthrough, his eyes suddenly condensed, and he turned his head sharply to look into the distance. Then he saw a figure in the sky in the distance, rushing towards him. Seeing that it was that girl, Su Fan breathed a sigh of relief. When the ancestor of Luo Zuan's family came, he had already sensed it. At that time, he was fighting against the heavenly tribulation with all his strength, so he didn't care about anything else. The other party also arranged a 9th-level defense formation for him, and communicated with several high-level old monsters nearby for him. In any case, he had the grace of protecting him, and this favor must be remembered. Luo Zuan drove the flying magic weapon to the valley, then landed on the ground and bowed to him. Congratulations, Senior, for successfully breaking through. Thank you for protecting me, and thank your ancestor for protecting me in the future. After hearing Su Fan's words, Luo Zuan blushed. You saved me, so should I thank you for saving my life, sister? It should be you who saved me. If it weren't for the jade talisman given to you by your ancestor, we might have turned into ashes long ago. At this time, Luo Zuan took out 2 riding the wind and thousands of miles great teleportation immortal talismans from her ring and handed them to Su Fan. You have to protect me for a while. This is what we agreed on before. You take it. Looking at the 2 riding the wind and thousands of miles great teleportation immortal talismans in the girl's hand, Su Fan was a little embarrassed to take it. Forget it, I can't accept this. Why? You and your ancestors helped me protect the Tao. How can I accept your reward? The girl got anxious when she heard it, and said, Why are you so slow? After she finished speaking, she walked over a few steps, forced the talisman into Su Fan's hand, then turned around and walked out of the valley. Where do you think we should go next? Chapter 891 No way, they paid me. The Demon Burial Mountains almost occupy the entire northern region of Wu'ai Ocean. Here, the mountains are high and the forests are deep, the clouds and mists are lingering, and poisonous insects and monsters are everywhere. In places with abundant spiritual energy, extremely precious exotic flowers and plants grow. Legend has it that this was the territory of the Demon Clan, that is, the Endless Demon Kingdom. Later, the Demon Burial Mountains became the main battlefield between the human race and the Demon Clan. After the human race of Wu'ai Ocean expelled the Demon Clan to the extreme northern wilderness, the contradiction between the immortals and demons became increasingly intensified, and finally evolved into a protracted war between immortals and demons. Because of the war between the immortals and demons, many casual cultivators who did not want to be affected by the war came from all directions to the Demon Burial Mountains to take root and form one casual cultivator group after another. Although the cultivation conditions here are extremely difficult, the mountains are full of evil spirits, miasma and various monsters, which can be said to be full of crises. But the Endless Demon Burial Mountains are rich in spiritual resources, and there is no shortage of cultivation resources. Therefore, countless casual cultivators who came from all over Wu'ai Ocean have thrived in this crisis-ridden Demon Burial Mountains. The casual cultivators who first came here could only huddle together for warmth in order to survive, and established settlements in the vast Demon Burial Mountains. Although after countless years of development, the Demon Burial Mountains have long become more prosperous, the settlements of various casual cultivator alliances still use the names of the past. The more remote ones are villages, and the more prosperous ones are fortresses. In late autumn, although there is no snow in the sky, the cold wind has already blown in the face early. The autumn wind blows, and the withered yellow leaves fall in pieces, adding a bit of bleakness to this lazy autumn day. Su Fan followed Luo Zuan and the others, walking on a quiet and long blue stone road, with towering ancient trees on both sides. The fallen leaves slowly floated down with the autumn wind, cold and wet, with a hint of blurred coldness. Looking at the girl walking in front, she would take out the magic weapon to take a selfie from time to time, and Su Fan couldn't help but sigh. It had been several months since he left the valley with Luo Zuan. He followed this girl to wander around the Barra Demon Mountains. He didn't know where she got so much energy from. In a few months, they had already visited many places. The girl might have been too stifled before. It was like she had just been released. Everything she saw was new. The place they went to this time was called Dongli Village. It was said that the scenery there was extremely beautiful, so Luo Ziwen came excitedly. Originally, the two of them could have come directly by teleportation array, but the girl heard that the scenery along the way to Dongli Village was very beautiful, so she flew directly over by flying magic weapon. They flew for more than 10 days. Occasionally, Luo Ziwen would land and walk, saying that it was to appreciate the beautiful scenery along the way. He found that this girl was not only a love-brained person, but also a bit like the literary and artistic petty bourgeoisie in his previous life. In this gloomy and treacherous world of cultivation, where dangers abound, cultivators have been working hard to achieve the path of immortality, and even risk their lives for the path. Only in the eyes of a son of a rich family like Luo Ziwen can one see such clear stupidity. Su Fan has lived 2 lives, and he thinks the only thing in common between women in the 2 worlds is that they all love shopping and traveling. He is a lazy person. He didn't like to toss around in his previous life, and it was the same when he came to this world of cultivation. He just wanted to find a quiet place to stay comfortably. To be honest, Su Fan didn't want to accompany the girl to toss around. He felt that he had not visited as many places as he had in these few months in his 2 lives combined. But there was no way, because they paid him. Just to protect the girl's safety, he could get 2 9th level riding the wind and thousands of miles great movement immortal talismans. What else did he want? Not to mention 2 9th level immortal talismans. Even if he took out 1, it would definitely be enough to buy the life of a cultivator in the god transformation realm. If he met an evil old demon who was crazy about money and asked him to kill a big boss in the refining void realm, he might dare to do it. Fortunately, it would only take 2 or 3 years at most, and it would pass if he endured it. Maybe it was because they were almost there. From time to time they could see a flying boat flying through the air at high speed, and there were even more cultivators driving flying magic weapons or monsters. The two walked for about half an hour, and Luo Ziwen excitedly pointed to the front and shouted excitedly, "Senior, look, we are at Dongli Village." Su Fan nodded, and his spiritual sense had already sensed that the dense forest in front was surrounded by the aura of formations. There were already many cultivators gathered there, queuing up to enter the dense forest in front. The two also walked over and lined up, followed a long stream of people to register their identities in front of the dense forest, and then received an identity J talisman. Compared with the gathering place of abandoned cultivators and evil cultivators like Broken Blade Canyon, the area controlled by the Loose Cultivator Alliance is much safer. Although the Loose Cultivator Alliance is also a cultivation force composed of gathering places, at least there will be no trouble near each gathering place. Moreover, there is a minimum order here. Even those notorious bandit cultivators and evil cultivators have to register their identities when they come here. Luo Ziwen ran over, took out her identity J talisman and gently drew it in front of the dense forest, and suddenly a wave of spiritual energy appeared. She stepped in, and her figure disappeared immediately, as if she had completely sunk into the dense forest. Su Fan also walked into the dense forest, and suddenly appeared in front of a white stone archway. The white stone archway was engraved with 3 golden characters Dongli Village, and behind the archway, there was a long blue stone street. The street was only 2 or 3 feet wide and a mile long, with buildings of different styles on both sides, including attics 5 or 6 feet high and quaint and heavy stone houses. Su Fan and Luo Ziwen walked around the street, and he found that the hundreds of shops on both sides of this bluestone street were extremely luxuriously decorated, and they were all large in scale. It is said that this bluestone street is the old street of Dongli Village, and it was also the original appearance of the village back then, and it has been preserved to this day. At the end of the old street, Su Fan's eyes suddenly opened up, and a prosperous mountain city came into his sight. Although this place is called Dongli Village, its size is equivalent to a small fairy city in Wuyaoshan. Dongli Village is built on the mountain, and its urban construction style is very distinctive. Winding bluestone streets spiral up along the mountain, and buildings of various styles are densely dotted on both sides of the streets. The streets in the city are bustling with people, and countless monks go in and out of the shops on both sides of the street, which is very lively. In the most prosperous central area of the city, there are several large-scale scattered markets. Every day, there are dense crowds of people here, and there are bustling scenes everywhere. Nowadays, Luo Ziwen is no longer willing to visit those shops. She now likes to go to those scattered markets. There will be another chapter later. Chapter 892. What the hell is this? Nowadays, whenever the girl sees the scattered stalls market, She will be as excited as if she had been injected with chicken blood, and then she will rush into the crowded market. Every time this happens, Su Fan is very depressed and can only accompany her to wander around in the noisy market. The Scattered Stalls Market in Dongli Village is no different from other places in the Burial Demon Mountain Range. The stall owners are all casual cultivators dressed in various colors sitting on stools. In front of them are all a mess of rags, elixirs, spiritual medicines, ores, seeds, magic tools, classics and everything else. Su Fan was born as a casual cultivator, and he has also been hanging around in the Scattered Stalls Market for a few years. He knows all the tricks here. Occasionally, you can really find a bargain in this place, but the chance is very small. Many stall owners in the Scattered Stalls Market specialize in selling counterfeit goods for a living, and most of them are gangs, and they are the ones who cheat those cultivators who want to find bargains here. Things that look antique and tempting are actually supplied by special counterfeiting workshops. Some fakes are so fake that even high-level cultivators cannot see the flaws. Many casual cultivators are deceived repeatedly because of their greed, and once they are deceived, the losses are often quite heavy. Luo Ziwen spent half a day strolling in the Scattered Stalls Market, and then left with satisfaction. The two of them found a hotel on the street and asked for a private room, and ordered the signature spiritual food in the store. While the wine and food were not served, Luo Ziwen took out a lot of rags from the ring and put them on the table for Su Fan to look at. "Senior, these are all the bargains I picked up today." Luo Ziwen is different from those greedy cultivators. She doesn't care how much she gets when she wants to pick up bargains, but she thinks it's fun. Su Fan glanced at the things on the table and almost laughed out loud. What kind of broken things are these? One of them is a flying sword with several gaps. According to the stall owner, this sword is hundreds of thousands of years old. This was the life magic weapon of a fallen sword cultivator during the war between humans and demons. But in Su Fan's eyes, this flying sword was at most a month old. In addition to this flying sword, there were also broken spears, blood-stained robes, broken puppets, and a mottled and worn-out cauldron. Looking at Luo Ziwen's expression of wanting to praise him quickly, Su Fan shook his head. He picked up the flying sword with several gaps and flicked it lightly with his fingers. The flying sword snapped into pieces all over the ground. Luo Ziwen was immediately confused. Even if she was stupid, she knew that she had been deceived. If it was really the life-flying sword of a sword cultivator, let alone breaking it with one finger, it would be difficult even if it was thrown into the cauldron for refining. Then Su Fan picked up the pieces of rags on the table one by one and revealed the true face of these fakes in front of the girl. Not only that, he also explained to Luo Ziwen the production process of these fakes. In the past, Su Fan didn't want to care about these trivial matters. Anyway, the girl didn't lack money, as long as she was happy. But he really didn't want to go to those noisy scattered stalls anymore. So he simply exposed these activities to prevent the girl from getting excited when she saw the scattered stalls in the future. Why are these people like this? It's so hateful. I'm going to settle accounts with him. Seeing that the girl was so angry that she was about to get up and leave, Su Fan grabbed her. If you go to find them now, they will have run away. After hearing Su Fan's words, Luo Ziwen sat down again with a look of disappointment on her face. She suddenly raised her head and looked over. You know so much? Have you sold fake goods before? This kind of fake and fake business, just find anyone in the scattered stalls and you will know what's going on, then you know. Why didn't you stop me? I saw that you were having a good time, so I didn't tell you. Anyway, you don't lack those spiritual stones. After hearing Su Fan's words, Luo Ziwen was so angry that her teeth itched. In the past few months, she had collected a lot of things from the Scattered Stalls Market, and originally thought that she had found a bargain. The girl originally wanted to show off to her fellow disciples after returning, but who would have thought that she actually collected a lot of junk? The most hateful thing is that this guy knew it but never said it, and only told her the truth today, making her happy for nothing. Seeing the girl's embarrassed look, Su Fan laughed. You are a rich lady. For that little money, you are really not worth it. Okay, it's not easy for casual cultivators to survive. Just think of it as poverty alleviation. Seeing that the girl still looked angry and didn't speak, Su Fan smiled bitterly. I used to be a casual cultivator. People like you who come from a wealthy family can't understand the difficulties of casual cultivators. This is what Luo Ziwen didn't want to hear the most. She rolled her eyes at Su Fan. With my talent, even if I am a casual cultivator, I will. Hearing this, Luo Ziwen's eyes lit up. And then she looked at Su Fan with a burning gaze. What do you think about me setting up a stall in the scattered stalls market? What the hell? Girl, you really dare to think so? You, still set up a stall in the scattered stalls market, don't let others sell you things and count the money for them. Luo Zuan refused to do it when she heard it, and said, it's settled, I'll set up a stall tomorrow. The more she thought about it, the more excited she became, and she felt that this should be quite fun. Su Fan covered his face. This girl was really crazy. Then when you set up a stall, have you thought about what to sell? Do you know how to bargain? I can learn. You can't learn anything. No, I can't let her do this anymore. If she continues to do this, I will be annoyed to death by her. I think it's not impossible for you to set up a stall. What do you mean? If you really want to experience the life of a casual cultivator, then just act like a real casual cultivator. First, suppress your realm to the foundation building realm, then put away your stored ring. You can only rely on the spirit stones earned from setting up a stall to stay in a hotel and eat every day. Su Fan thought that this would make the girl back off. Who would have thought that after hearing this, Luo Zuan would immediately become energetic and feel that this is quite fun. Yes. It's decided. I will set up a stall tomorrow. After she finished speaking, she took off the stored ring on her hand and threw it to Su Fan. Help me keep it. I don't believe that I can't support myself by setting up a stall. After she finished speaking, she looked at Su Fan with interest and said, I don't have a single spirit stone now. Starting tomorrow, I will start to support myself by setting up a stall. Haha, this is fucking. This is too careless. Su Fan is now regretting his words. Why did he say these things to her? He looked at the girl's ring in his hand, feeling a bit amused. You don't even have a spirit stone, so what are you going to sell at the street market? Sell your body. Chapter 893 You're not blind, you finally know that I'm pretty. Hearing Su Fan's words, Luo Zuan was also confused. Yes, I don't even have a spiritual stone, so what can I sell at the scattered stalls market? Seeing the girl's confused face, Su Fan laughed. I think you should forget it. You are a spoiled young lady. How can you bear the hardship of scattered cultivators? Luo Zuan couldn't stand such stimulation, and she immediately quit. Others can do it, why can't I? I don't care, I will go to set up a stall tomorrow. Believe it or not, you will come back crying in less than 2 days. I don't believe it. This girl is just stubborn, and she won't cry until she sees the coffin. Okay, since you don't know what's good for you, then let you taste the bitterness. Su Fan thought about it, and then sent a thought to Sister Zhen, asking her to prepare some low-level cultivation supplies. Su Fan is already a high-level cultivator, and he doesn't have any low-level cultivation supplies. But he knows that Sister Zhen must have them. This woman should be a collector, or a money grubber. No matter what kind of junk she had, she could find it. She even collected a lot of cultivation materials needed by cultivators in the key refining and foundation building stage. Every time she cleaned up the battlefield, Sister Zhen would lead her countless ghost soldiers and ghost generals to plunder the battlefield, even scraping off a layer of the ground. After Su Fan sent his thoughts, Sister Zhen collected a batch of cultivation materials needed by cultivators in the key refining and foundation building stage for him in a short while. He took out the stored ring that Sister Zhen had prepared for him from the secret space, scanned it with his spiritual sense, and then picked out some things from it and put them into a 5-sided stored ring. Su Fan glanced at Luo Zuan, then threw the stored ring to her. I have prepared the things for you to set up the stall. The girl took the stored ring that Su Fan threw to her, scanned it with her spiritual sense, and immediately frowned. She felt that this stored ring was so small, and it only contained a dozen second and third level talismans and a few bottles of elixirs used in the key refining and foundation building stage. In addition, there is a set of talisman making tools, talisman paper, talisman ink, and a few dozen low-level spirit stones. What can I do with just these few things? How can I set up a stall with so few things? You still think these things are too little? Many casual cultivators are not as good as you. You are now a casual cultivator who has just broken through the foundation building stage. In order to break through, you have used up all the spirit stones and cultivation materials. You set up a stall to earn more spirit stones to maintain your subsequent cultivation. A casual cultivator can't be so miserable. You are right, some are worse off than you, but there are only a dozen talismans. How many spirit stones can you sell for? Didn't I give you the talisman making tools? Don't even mention that you can't draw second and third level talismans, so you still Luo Ziwen was stunned. She hasn't drawn talismans for many years. When she first learned to make talismans, she was also fishing for 3 days and drying the net for 2 days. The girl never put her heart into it. Although she is already a cultivator in the nascent soul realm, she is really not sure about making talismans. But when Luo Ziwen saw Su Fan's teasing expression, she was immediately irritated. Okay, these things are enough. I don't believe that I can't support myself by setting up a stall. Su Fan laughed and then stretched out his hand to the girl. Caught off guard, Luo Ziwen felt a shock all over her body. She tried her magic power and felt that her realm had shrunk significantly. Okay, now your realm is the initial stage of foundation building. By the way, your robe is not suitable. After Su Fan finished speaking, he took out a robe from the ring and threw it to the girl. In fact, it was just an ordinary robe without even a magic array. What a joke. How can a casual cultivator have the money to buy a robe? Any low-level robe costs more than a dozen medium-grade spirit stones, and that's the kind of stuff that only has 1 or 2 magic arrays engraved on it. Luo Ziwen almost cried when she took the robe. What a broken thing is this, and it's still the gray color that she dislikes the most. Wearing it makes her feel like a gray mouse. Although she was reluctant, she went to the house to take off her top-grade robe with 8 magic arrays engraved on it and put on this gray robe. Seeing Luo Ziwen in the gray robe, Su Fan nodded with satisfaction. Well, this is right. However, Su Fan looked at the girl's beautiful face and frowned again. Although she changed into this gray robe, the girl was too beautiful, which obviously did not fit the plot. Your appearance is not good. Have you seen any female cultivators so beautiful and setting up a stall in the market? Hearing Su Fan praising her beauty, Luo Ziwen blushed and secretly rejoiced in her heart. You are not blind. You finally know that I am beautiful. Luo Ziwen is very confident in her appearance. She can become the focus wherever she goes. But for some reason, since the day she saw her from this guy, she has never looked at herself straight in the eye. Su Fan took out a shape-changing talisman and handed it to Luo Ziwen. The girl took it and slapped it on her body, then performed a water mirror technique, and was stunned. She saw that she had turned into an extremely ordinary-looking female cultivator in a mirror, and she immediately refused to do it. No, this is too ugly. Give me my storage ring, and I will use my own transformation talisman. Come on, can your transformation talismans be used? They are all beautiful. If the girls among the casual cultivators were born beautiful, how could they set up stalls in the market? They would have been attached to a high-level cultivator to eat and drink. That's enough. You are now a casual cultivator who can hardly survive. What's the point of making yourself so beautiful? This is good, and it feels more involved. After he finished speaking, he suddenly remembered something and said, by the way, give me all the communication array plates, jade talismans and so on your waist. Luo Ziwen was stunned and said, I can't even have a communication array plate. Then how can I contact you? Su Fan took out a talisman and handed it to the girl. This is a communication talisman. If you have anything to say, use this to contact me. Luo Ziwen took off the communication array and jade talisman on her waist, handed them to Su Fan, and then took the communication talisman. This was the first time that the girl had seen this kind of communication talisman. It was said that it could only be used within a radius of 1,000 miles. At this time, Luo Ziwen did not dislike these things. She had not yet realized the seriousness of the problem. She felt more novel and exciting. But when she thought about setting up a stall at the market tomorrow, she was still very excited. She could finally try a life she had never experienced before. Today, Luo Ziwen is already a complete miserable casual cultivator. From inside to outside, she looks poor. You can stay in this guest room for another night. Starting tomorrow morning, you can only survive in Dongli village with the resources you have. Until this moment, Luo Ziwen finally became a little nervous, but more excited and excited. Chapter 894 I don't think you can do anything. In the early morning of late autumn, there was a lingering drizzle outside the house. At this time, the air was filled with dampness and coldness. Luo Ziwen had just walked out of the hotel and was immediately blown to the bone. It seemed that there was a chill in her bones. She used to wear the best robes, and she didn't feel anything regardless of the cold or the heat. When had she ever suffered such a punishment? Luo Ziwen realized that many monks on the street would wear a cotton robe or blanket outside their robes to resist the cold of late autumn. Only those monks who could afford real robes would go out like her wearing a robe. The girl hugged her arms and hurriedly ran to the scattered stalls in the city. Now her cultivation realm has been forcibly suppressed by Su Fan to the initial stage of foundation building. Not only does she not have the ability to keep out the cold, she can't even do fasting. The girl is now cold and hungry. Her whole body has been numb from the cold of late autumn, and her stomach is growling. Luo Zuan ran into a restaurant on the street, found a table and sat down, and the chill on her body was relieved a lot. She picked up the menu on the table and took a look, and her face changed immediately. Even in a place like Dongli Village, the consumption is relatively low, but she can't afford it. Luo Zuan smiled bitterly. Now she only has a few dozen spirit stones in her pocket. After eating here, she will have nothing left. She sat there and waited for a while, and got up and left the restaurant before the shop assistant came over. When she got to the street, the whistling wind mixed with fine raindrops hid her face, and the coldness that hid her face made her shiver again. She wanted to return to the hotel, but before she turned around, she suddenly remembered that Su Fan had checked out of the hotel, and that guy didn't know where he went. Luo Zuan took out the communication talisman from the ring, hesitated for a while and put it back. It was only the first day out, and she asked that guy for help. She really couldn't afford it. Thinking of this, Luo Zuan gritted her teeth and continued to run towards the scattered stalls market despite the bone-chilling cold. After running for a while, she found that the alleys on both sides of the street were filled with smoke and a lot of monks gathered. Luo Zuan thought about it and went into the alley. She saw several breakfast stalls set up inside, and each stall was surrounded by monks. She also lined up to buy a bowl of spiritual rice porridge at the breakfast stall, and then found a table with a bowl in hand. She picked up the spoon and took a sip. Oh my god. Luo Zuan felt that the spiritual rice porridge was really delicious. For the first time in her life, she drank 2 large bowls of spiritual rice porridge in succession, which dispelled a lot of the coldness in her body and temporarily filled her stomach. Luo Zuan paid for the meal and came to the shop on the street again. She bought a thick cotton robe and put it on her body, and she immediately felt much warmer. Although she had temporarily solved the problem of food and clothing, her stall business had not yet started, and dozens of spiritual stones had gone 30%, which also made her feel a little more urgent. The girl felt that the dozens of spiritual stones in her hand could not last for a few days. When Luo Zuan rushed to the scattered stalls market, she found that there was no good position inside. She couldn't help but complain. Could it be that these guys came before dawn? Despite this, the girl was still very excited. She felt that this was much more interesting than shopping in auction houses. Luo Zuan wandered around the market for a long time before finding a place on the edge. She looked at the stalls around her and followed the example of other stall owners. She took out a piece of animal skin from her ring and spread it on the ground, and placed the talismans and elixirs on it. She took out a small stool and sat on it, looking forward to the first business of the day. But she overlooked one thing. The stall owners in the market would put up a big umbrella to protect against the wind and rain on such rainy days. So the rain was not heavy, but after a while, her cotton robe was wet by the drizzle, and her hair was also wet and tangled. The talismans and pill bottles on the stall were fine. After all, they were magical treasures of the immortals and were not afraid of rain, but the appearance was much worse. It was drizzling today, so there were not many cultivators visiting the market. In addition, her stall was remote, and she had not sold a single item until almost noon. Not to mention selling things, no one even came to take a look at her stall. Moreover, the 2 bowls of spiritual rice porridge she had eaten in the morning had long been gone, and her stomach was growling again. Even the thick cotton robe she was wearing was soaked by the continuous drizzle, and the slight chill she felt all over her body had penetrated into the bones. Luo Zuan was shivering with cold, and she could no longer stay. Just when she was about to retreat, a female cultivator next to her moved a big umbrella on the stall towards her. Sit over here. After the female cultivator said this, she moved the stool to the side and motioned Luo Zuan to sit over. The girl smiled gratefully at the other party, then moved her stool over and sat next to the female cultivator, finally having a place to shelter from the wind and rain. This is your first time to set up a stall. Hearing the female cultivator's words, Luo Zuan nodded with a miserable face. She was already cursing in her heart. Not only was it her first time to set up a stall, but it was also her first time to be frozen like a quail. Perhaps seeing the girl's miserable appearance reminded her of her helplessness when she first came to Dongli village, and her heart softened. She took out a scallion pancake from her ring and handed it to Luo Ziwen. "You must be hungry, this is what I baked myself, try it." The girl's stomach had been smoking with hunger for a long time, and she didn't hesitate to take it and gobble it up. Although it was just an ordinary pancake without a trace of spiritual energy, she felt that it was better than the spiritual rice porridge in the morning. She had been eating the best spiritual food since she was born, and this was the first time she had eaten such worldly things. At this moment, not far from the girl's stall, Su Fan, who had changed his appearance, laughed at the girl's miserable appearance. "I don't think you can do it anymore. How can a rich lady like her bear such a life?" He estimated that the girl would contact him in the afternoon. But what he didn't expect was that the female cultivator next to him actually helped the girl, which also made him a little disappointed. But he didn't care much. Even if someone helped her at this time, the girl couldn't hold on for long. Not to mention anything else, with a few spiritual stones in her hand, even in a place like Dongli village, she could only live in a big bunk bed. Letting her, a lady from a rich family, squeeze on a bunk bed with others is more unacceptable than killing her. So Su Fan felt that the girl had turned this game before dinner. At this moment, more than 10,000 miles away from here, there was a gaunt old man floating in the sky, who is the ancestor of Luo Ziwen's family. Since the girl left the hotel in the morning, her every move was seen by the old man. This stinky boy actually harmed his own girl like this, which made him very dissatisfied. The old man frowned and thought for a while, but in the end he did not come forward to stop it, and his figure slowly disappeared into the air. Chapter 895 How does this old thief know everything? Su Fan thought that Luo Ziwen would contact him obediently that night and end this absurd game. But what he didn't expect was that Luo Ziwen and the female cultivator had a very good chat for some reason. That night, Luo Ziwen was actually taken back to her residence by the female cultivator. At first, Su Fan thought that the female cultivator had bad intentions, so he kept observing with his spiritual sense nearby, and later found that the two of them just got along well. Is this girl the legendary social gangster? They have only known each other for a short while, and the two girls are as close as one person. In the next few days, the two of them set up stalls at the scattered stalls market every day, and the girl walked out of her novice village easily. These days, Luo Ziwen has been very comfortable, and his life with its sister is very colorful. Su Fan is miserable, because he is a bodyguard and can only stay nearby every day. Now Luo Ziwen is no longer like when he first came. He has also learned to greet customers and even bargain. Sometimes, in order to earn an extra spiritual stone, she would talk so much that her spit flew all over the place, until she got what she wanted in the end. Every time she looked at the extra spiritual stone in her hand, she was so happy that she almost fainted. Luo Ziwen grew up with a silver spoon in her mouth since she was born, and she had never been short of spiritual stones. Not to mention spiritual stones, she had not used spiritual stones since she was very young, and she used spiritual crystals to spend money when she went out. But for some reason, even when the ancestor rewarded her with rare treasures, she did not feel as fulfilled as earning an extra spiritual stone now. Now she lives with that female cultivator, busy from morning to night every day. She feels very fulfilled. The reason why the two of them can chat is that they both love to read storybooks and are both love-brained, so they have a lot in common. The other party was also alone in Dongli village, and had never had anyone to talk to. Now that she met Luo Ziwen, they have endless topics to talk about every day. At noon, Su Fan found a restaurant near the scattered stalls market, and while eating, he paid attention to the girl's movements. At this time, Luo Ziwen and the female cultivator were each holding a big pancake and eating it so deliciously that Su Fan was amused. "You say this girl gets up early and works late every day, what is she trying to do?" Su Fan turned around and shook his head, picked up the wine glass and was about to take a sip. Suddenly, he found that an old man sat across the table from him, which made him frown immediately. You know, with Su Fan's sensing ability, even a fly flying by can't be hidden from him. Su Fan smiled bitterly to himself and guessed who the other party was. He was about to stand up and pay homage to the old man, but the other party waved his hand at him. "Okay, no need here." After hearing the old man's words, Su Fan had to sit down respectfully again. This is a big man in the fusion realm. Although the other party did not reveal a trace of aura, Su Fan's psychological pressure was not ordinary. The old man frowned and looked at Su Fan, saying, "What are you thinking? How can you let the girl set up a stall? No. What does this have to do with me? He can't take the blame. Senior, this is your idea. I advised her, but she didn't listen. Humph. Just set up a stall, then why did you take the girl's ring? How does this old thief know everything? Senior, didn't I want her to give up when she saw the difficulty? After all, there are all kinds of people in the scattered stalls market. It's not good to stay in such a place for a long time. Then did she give up when she saw the difficulty? Look at what she has become now. She hangs out with a bunch of casual cultivators every day, and she has been arguing with people for so long to earn that extra spirit stone. Su Fan saw that the old man was angry, and his heart suddenly became nervous. He didn't want to offend a big man in the fusion realm. Su Fan hurriedly thought hard, trying to find a reason that would satisfy the other party. At this time, his heart moved, and he immediately had an idea. Senior, although fellow Taoist Zuan is extremely talented, she has too little experience. This is a rare opportunity for her to break out of her shackles and experience a different life from the past. It may help her state of mind. After hearing Su Fan's words, the old man snorted coldly. In fact, he also thought so, otherwise he would have stopped it long ago. But seeing that the girl had suffered so much these days, the old man felt distressed, so he could only vent his anger on this boy. The girl only needs to play for a few days, don't let her stay in this place for too long. After the old man finished speaking, he glared at Su Fan, and then his figure slowly disappeared into the air. It was lunchtime at this time, and the restaurant was full of people, but from the time the old man appeared to the time he disappeared, no one noticed his existence. After all, he was a big boss in the fusion realm. Su Fan wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. In just a short while, his back was sweating. Fortunately, this time he passed the test, otherwise he would have been uncomfortable. Thinking of this, Su Fan took out the communication talisman from the ring, and then activated it and sent a message. I think you should have had enough fun. After a while, Luo Zuan replied with a message. I just got used to setting up a stall in the market, and you ask me to leave. It's none of my business whether you want to set up a stall, but your ancestor just came and asked you to leave this messy place as soon as possible. No, I haven't had enough fun yet. Okay, you can play as long as you like. Anyway, I've got my message. Su Fan put away the communication talisman, and just as he was about to pick up the wine glass to take a sip, the communication array disc on his waist vibrated slightly. Are you still letting people eat? Su Fan took off the communication array disc from his waist and took a look, and found that it was a message from Zhu Ming of Huangquan Tower. Devours, have you left the Demon Burial Mountains? I've already left. Is there anything wrong? Forget it. There's a mission here that's suitable for you. If you're in the Demon Burial Mountains, you can just do it, you can't pull it. My identity has been exposed. If I take on another bounty mission, it will definitely cause a lot of trouble. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, it's better not to bother. The reason why he hasn't left the Demon Burial Mountains is to earn the 2 9th level immortal talismans from the girl. Moreover, Su Fan is already a cultivator in the God Transformation realm. Although he has just broken through, his strength is not rivaled by cultivators of the same level. Especially now that almost no one knows that he has broken through the God Transformation realm, even if the Frigate River Hall and the Celestial Clan chase him here, he can just give them a spoonful of stew. In addition, the ancestor of the fusion realm of Luo Zuan's family is also in the Demon Burial Mountains, so he is very confident. Even if he encounters some high-level cultivators, he saved that girl, and the old man can't just sit there and watch. Chapter 896. Is this little girl crazy? Luo Zuan and the female cultivator came out of the scattered stalls market and walked towards the other's rented house. The female cultivator's name was Yang Yan, and she was a descendant of a cultivation family in Wuyaoshan. Later, her parents both lost their lives in an expedition, and her family's cultivation resources were occupied by her uncles. Because there was no protection from their parents, several brothers and sisters were persecuted and neglected in the family. Because Yang Yan was born beautiful, her uncles and uncles betrothed her to an old monster in the God Transformation realm as a concubine. She didn't want to be harmed by that old man, so she escaped from the family and finally came to the Dongli village in the Burial Monster Mountains. Jiang Yan was different from those wild casual cultivators. She was born in a cultivation family and had very good talents. It was a pity that her later situation was quite miserable. She helped Luo Zuan out of softness, but later she didn't expect that the two of them could talk to each other. In addition, Jiang Yan was also lonely here, and she saw that Luo Ziwen was quite simple, so she took her sister home. The two of them got along better and better these days, and Jiang Yan also treated Luo Ziwen as her younger sister. But she didn't know that although Luo Ziwen looked young, she was actually much older than her, and she was also a cultivator in the nascent soul realm. The two returned home. Jiang Yan was responsible for cooking, and Luo Ziwen was responsible for making talismans. Although the sisters' talisman skills were average, she was born in a wealthy family after all. Even if she didn't pay much attention when she learned to make talismans, she was much better than ordinary cultivators. And they were all low-level talismans of the second and third levels, so for her, as long as she was familiar with them, it was not a big deal at all. After more than 10 days of continuous exploration, the sisters' talisman-making skills have become more and more proficient, and the talismans she drew are also very decent. Now the sisters' business in the scattered stalls market is getting better and better, and she can sell more than a dozen talismans of various kinds every day. Although the few spirit stones earned are not much, this is the first time that Luo Ziwen has made money by her own ability, so she has a full sense of accomplishment every day. Ziwen, it's time to eat. Hearing Jiang Yan calling her, the girl put down the talisman pen in her hand and sat down at the dining table in the outer room. The two of them ate ordinary mundane food every day, and they couldn't afford spiritual food. Although the prices in Dongli village were not that outrageous, it was not easy for casual cultivators to survive here. Jiang Yan worked hard every day, and after paying for rent and stall fees, she couldn't save many spiritual stones every month. Now she is at the peak of the late foundation building stage, but it will take a long time to get enough cultivation materials needed to break through the golden elixir realm. After the two finished their meal, Luo Ziwen took out a storage bag and placed it in front of Jiang Yan. Sister Jiang, these spiritual stones are what I earn these days, so I'll leave them with you. After hearing what the girl said, Jiang Yan pushed the storage bag back. You just broke through the foundation building stage. There will be many places where you will need spirit stones in the future. You should save more spirit stones. Luo Ziwen laughed in her heart. In her eyes, these spirit stones were not money at all. At most, they were equivalent to game coins. Sister Jiang, I live in your house and eat your food every day. I can't lie for free. After hearing what the girl said, Jiang Yan smiled. It's okay to leave it with me. In the future, we will share the rent. I will help you save the rest. Luo Ziwen smiled. In fact, she had already thought about it. When she had enough fun here, she would take Jiang Yan back to the sect, and she would take care of all the resources for her cultivation in this life. When Jiang Yan helped her, she just felt sorry for her and softened her heart. She didn't think about any return at all. Sister Jiang, if you become a high-level cultivator in the future, what do you want to do most? Jiang Yan smiled bitterly. She couldn't even pass the hurdle of the golden core realm, so how could she have the opportunity to cultivate to a high-level cultivator? I want to go back to the family and pick up my brothers and sisters. She smiled sadly and said, it's a pity that I can never go back. Even if I succeed in cultivation in the future, I don't know when they will be there. Luo Ziwen listened and thought silently in his heart that when he had enough fun here, he would definitely help her fulfill this wish. Sister Jiang, don't worry, your wish will definitely come true. The next morning, Luo Ziwen and Jiang Yan left home and walked towards the scattered stalls market. On the way, the girl kept looking around. She knew that the guy must be nearby, but she couldn't find his trace every time. She missed Su Fan a lot after not seeing him for a few days. The two have been together for a few months, and she felt empty when she suddenly didn't see him. She originally wanted to bring that guy to set up a stall, but Su Fan didn't agree at all. Luo Ziwen was thinking about it all the way, and unknowingly they had arrived at the scattered stalls market. At this moment, several cultivators were standing at the entrance of the market. When they saw the two coming, they walked towards them. Seeing several people coming towards them aggressively, Luo Ziwen frowned immediately. She turned her head to look at Jiang Yan next to her, and saw that her face turned extremely pale, and she felt that her whole body was trembling slightly. Jiang Yan, who are they? People from our family. I didn't expect that Dongli village is so remote, but they still found it. At this time, those people had come in front of the two. The leader was a middle-aged cultivator in the nascent soul realm, and he stared at Jiang Yan with a gloomy face. Second uncle, before she finished speaking, the middle-aged cultivator in the nascent soul realm interrupted her and waved his hand to the people behind him. Take her away. Hearing his words, the Jiang family members behind him rushed towards Jiang Yan aggressively. Luo Zuan was immediately angry. She had just stood at the scattered stalls market, and she hadn't had enough fun yet, and you dared to ruin her good thing. She took a few steps forward and blocked in front of Jiang Yan. What do you want to do? The girl shouted so loudly that not only several Jiang family members were startled, but also other cultivators around. Wow! The scattered cultivators in the scattered market saw that there was something exciting to watch, and they surrounded the place at once, making it impossible to get out. Zuan, you go. After she finished speaking, she said loudly to the middle-aged cultivator in the nascent soul realm opposite. Second uncle, I will go with you. This matter has nothing to do with her. Don't make it difficult for her. Luo Zuan laughed and said, we are good sisters. How can it have nothing to do with me? After she finished speaking, she looked at the several Jiang family members opposite and sneered, Jiang Yan will not go with you. Get out now. After hearing her words, the Jiang family members opposite and the many scattered cultivators watching were all dumbfounded. Is this little girl crazy? You are a small foundation building cultivator. Who gave you the courage to speak to the old monster in the nascent soul realm like this? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 897 Give you a chance. Luo Zuan's eyes condensed, and she wanted to release her domineering spirit. But she had long forgotten that she had been forcibly suppressed by Su Fan, and now she was just a small casual cultivator in the early stage of the foundation building realm. The girl tried desperately to restore her realm, but after half a day of hard work, she still couldn't restore her realm to the nascent soul realm. This guy actually blocked his meridians. At this time, the nascent soul cultivator headed by the Jiang family on the opposite side laughed. Since you want to die, then arrest you too. After he finished speaking, he waved his hand at the people behind him, and several Jiang family members were about to rush over. Second uncle. I'll go with you. This matter has nothing to do with her, Jiang Yan said, then stood in front of Luo Zuan, turned around and yelled at the girl. Zuan, leave quickly. Luo Zuan was also anxious, and she hurriedly looked around, hoping to find Su Fan's figure. Where did this guy go? Why didn't he show up? At this moment, several Jiang family members had already rushed over, and Luo Zuan certainly couldn't let them take Jiang Yan away. Stop it, she said and ran over a few steps, stretching out her hands to block Jiang Yan. But the Jiang family members on the opposite side were all giant and realm cultivators. How could she stop them? Luo Zuan hardened her heart, closed her eyes, and could only do whatever she wanted. She didn't believe that Su Fan would dare not show up at this time. I spent 2 9th level immortal talismans to hire you. Even if I lose a hair, that guy will never get those 2 immortal talismans. Ahem. At this time, a cough came from the crowd. Although the sound was not loud, it sounded like a thunder in the ears of several Jiang family members. The many cultivators who were watching the excitement around them all looked like they had seen a ghost, looking at the Jiang family cultivators who were dazed in place. No one knew what happened to these people. They just rushed over like ferocious monsters. Why did they all stop and daze there as if they were possessed by evil spirits? The face of the Jiang family's Yuanying cultivator changed, and he turned around and looked around. I wonder which fellow Taoist attacked my Jiang family member. Can you show yourself? After hearing his words, the cultivators around him also began to look around. They clearly heard the cough just now, but they didn't know where that person was. Cough. At this time, another cough came from outside the crowd. This time everyone heard it clearly. With a whoosh, the crowd quickly separated to both sides. A cultivator in the nascent soul realm was standing on the street outside the crowd. He put his hands behind his back and looked at the Jiang family members with a calm face. Fellow Taoist, this is our Jiang family's private matter. What does it have to do with you? After hearing the other party's words, Su Fan ignored him, but glanced at Luo Zuan who was blocking Jiang Yan. Have you had enough fun? If you have, come with me. After hearing Su Fan's words, Luo Zuan immediately refused to do it. These people from the Jiang family bullied me, you killed them all. After hearing the girl's words, the cultivators who gathered around to watch the excitement were suddenly in an uproar. This girl is too arrogant. The nascent soul cultivator of the Jiang family was also angry. Although the man outside the crowd seemed to be very powerful, he didn't take himself seriously. Su Fan couldn't help but frowned. I was only responsible for protecting you, but I didn't say I would help you kill people. Thinking of this, he sent a thought to Luo Ziwen. You can kill people, but you have to pay more, okay? I promise you. After receiving the girl's thought, Su Fan set his sights on the people of the Jiang family. I'll give you a chance, get out of here immediately. Although Su Fan could easily kill these people from the Jiang family, they didn't provoke him after all, so he wanted to give them a way to live. Who knew that the nascent soul cultivator headed by the Jiang family didn't leave after hearing this, but was angered by him. He sneered and said in a deep voice, haha. If you want to kill us, Taoist friend, just come on. Su Fan sighed. Since you don't want to be shameless, then go to hell. Thinking of this, he raised his foot and took a step. Crack, he only took one step, but when his right foot landed on the ground, the blue stone under his feet seemed to bear a tremendous force, and centipede-like hideous cracks spread out in all directions. Boom! Then, an unprecedented terrifying momentum suddenly erupted, crushing the surroundings like a tidal wave. At that moment, everyone felt as if the whole world had collapsed, as if an incomparable great terror had descended. Su Fan only took one step, and the overwhelming pressure was like a real tsunami, which made everyone's breath choke. Then, he took the second step. Boom! The boundless terrifying momentum swept the entire sky, and the surrounding space shook violently. It seemed that a great terror was about to cross the border and descend, making everyone feel a sense of the sky falling and the earth collapsing, as if they were about to fall into the boundless dark abyss. The nascent soul cultivator of the Jiang family was also panicked. It was not until this moment that he realized that the guy opposite was simply a killing god. He felt like an ant in front of the other party, who could easily crush him to death. Devours, but before he could finish his words, the heads of several Jiangdan-level Jiang family disciples around him exploded like bursting watermelons. Then, his neck seemed to be grabbed by someone, and his whole body was lifted up from the ground. I have already given you a chance. The Jiang family's nascent soul cultivator heard this and tried his best to open his mouth to say something, but his neck was tightly grasped by Su Fan's divine consciousness, and he could not make a sound at all. Su Fan's eyes condensed, and he controlled his divine consciousness to crush the other party's neck. Swoosh! A black shadow rushed out of the other party's body, but the man's nascent soul was grabbed by Su Fan's divine consciousness just as he was about to escape. Su Fan controlled his divine consciousness to send the nascent soul of the Jiang family nascent soul cultivator into the Zhuan's secret realm. Seeing her second uncle and several young men in the family being killed on the spot on the blink of an eye, Jiang Yan was also shocked and stunned. She turned her head to look at Luo Ziwen, and immediately understood. It seems that this well-behaved girl who has been with her day and night for more than 10 days is definitely not as simple as she looks. Luo Ziwen also looked at Jiang Yan. She made a face at her, and then laughed. How dare you? You dare to kill people in my Dongli village? At this time, a deafening roar came from a distance. Several cultivators in the God Transformation realm were roaring towards here from a distance with murderous intent. Chapter 898. This kid never stops wherever he goes. Seeing several Transformation realm cultivators in the distance, Jiang Yan hurriedly shouted loudly. Ziwen, you and that senior should leave quickly, the people from Dongli village are coming. The girl laughed and said, it's okay, don't worry, leave the next thing to him. After hearing Luo Ziwen's words, Jiang Yan was stunned. Although the senior was very powerful, he was only a Yuanying realm cultivator after all. How could he resist the several Transformation realm old monsters from Dongli village? Get out! Suddenly, a deafening roar exploded from the sky and the earth, and the sound was like thunder. Jiang Yan, who was thinking about it, heard a boom in her ears, and she felt that her eyes went black and her body shook a few times. If Luo Ziwen hadn't grabbed her first, she would have fallen to the ground. A terrifying sound wave visible to the naked eye set off a shocking sea storm. With a huge force that could turn mountains and rivers upside down, he rushed towards the several Transformation realm cultivators on the opposite side. The several Transformation realm cultivators who were caught off guard were instantly shaken back by this powerful and terrifying sound wave. The casual cultivators who were watching the excitement around them were all pale, dizzy, and those with poor consciousness fainted directly. This was still far away from the terrifying sound wave. If they were also within the impact range of the sound wave, they would have been blown to pieces. At this moment, the entire Dongli village had become silent. Seeing that several Transformation realm powerhouses in Dongli village were actually shaken away by Su Fan's voice, This also stunned the countless cultivators gathered around, and some of them didn't believe their eyes. This kid was clearly just a nascent soul realm cultivator, and several transformation realm old monsters couldn't even withstand his roar. Zheng Yan was also shocked, and even her worldview for many years had collapsed. Let alone a nascent soul cultivator, even if the opponent is a spiritualization old monster, facing several cultivators of the same level, he dare not say that he will be blown away with just one shout. Let alone them, even Luo Ziwen was confused. Did this guy just break through the spiritualization realm? How come he's so fierce? In fact, even Su Fan was a little surprised. He shouted this roar just to shock the several spiritualization cultivators of Dongli village. Who would have thought that these guys were so weak that they were blown away by their roar? Am I so powerful now, or is it because the opponent is a few casual cultivators with weak strength? At this time, a figure walked out of the void, as if it came across the boundary, standing far away in the sky. Seeing the figure in the air in the distance, countless casual cultivators of Dongli village suddenly became energetic. Now that Dong Xianzhen is here, I wonder how this kid can still be so arrogant, haha. This kid is dead, let him be so arrogant. Do you really think there is no one in our Dongli village? After the appearance of the refining Void Realm Master, countless casual cultivators in Dongli village started to make a loud noise, as if they had a backbone. In their opinion, even if Su Fan is powerful, he will definitely die in front of the refining Void Realm Master. The several major casual cultivator alliances in the Burial Demon Mountain Range are all alliances composed of villages. Each casual cultivator gathering place is guarded by a high-level master, a bit like the system of the Greek Federation in the previous life. Su Fan had long known that there was a refining Void Realm Master in Dongli village, but he was not worried at all. After all, he killed people from the Zhang family and did not attack the casual cultivators of Dongli village. Moreover, he was carrying a demon seed, and the refining Void Realm Master opposite him would definitely not be on the same level with him. Besides, the ancestor of Luo Ziwen's family must also be paying attention to his girl. Even if the other party killed him regardless of the cause and effect in the future, the big man in the fusion realm would not stand idly by. Dong Xianzhen on the opposite side saw Su Fan's whereabouts at a glance. How did this scourge come to Dongli village? At this time, Su Fan bowed to the other party. Junior, pay homage to Xianzhen, HMPH, hurry up and drive that girl away from Dongli village. Hearing Dong Xianzhen's words, Su Fan hurriedly bowed again. I will follow Xianzhen's decree. Dong Xianzhen snorted coldly, then looked at Su Fan deeply, and his figure disappeared in the air in the distance. Su Fan's guess was right, this big man really didn't want to see him. The other party just wanted this monster to leave Dongli village quickly. This kid is a scourge, no matter where he goes, he won't stop, so he'd better get out of here quickly. Seeing Dong Xianzhen's figure disappear, Su Fan felt relieved. Don't look at him as if nothing happened. In fact, he just endured unimaginable pressure. After the other party left, it was like a heavy mountain pressing on his heart was lifted. No matter what, he was also a big boss in the refining Void Realm. Do you think he was joking? Su Fan let out a long breath and looked at Luo Ziwen. You should leave this time. After Su Fan finished speaking, he turned around and walked out of Dongli village regardless of whether the girl agreed or not. Seeing Su Fan leave, Luo Ziwen stomped his feet unwillingly, and then pulled Zheng Yan to chase him. The girl caught up with Su Fan, and then smiled and hugged Su Fan's arm. Senior, let's change places and continue to set up stalls. What a joke. Today's incident will spread throughout the entire Burial Demon Mountain Range within a day. Not only that, his identity may also spread quickly. After all, the big boss in the refining Void Realm of Dongli village has already seen his background. Who knows if he will spread the news? No, why not? Let's continue to hide our identities and find a remote place to continue playing. What the hell? If I continue to stay in the Burial Demon Mountains, I will have to track the guys from the Forgotten River Hall and the Celestial Clan. Su Fan is not afraid of these guys, but he is afraid of trouble. This is what your ancestor said. You are not allowed to continue to set up a stall here. When Luo Ziwen heard that it was her ancestor who said it, she immediately became energetic. She was least afraid of the ancestor. I don't care. I haven't had enough fun yet. Su Fan was also helpless. He was only responsible for protecting Luo Ziwen's safety and really couldn't force his sister's itinerary. He suddenly had an idea. We just killed the Zhang family. This news will be passed back to the Zhang family soon. Aren't you worried about the safety of our family members? Su Fan said and glanced at Jiang Yan, and saw that the other party's face turned pale. Luo Ziwen couldn't help but get anxious after hearing this. She quickly took Jiang Yan's arm and comforted her. It's okay, don't worry, we will return to your family right away and bring your brothers and sisters out safely. Chapter 899 Immortal Sect disciples still have to rely on their background. After Luo Ziwen comforted Jiang Yan, she turned around and looked at Su Fan. We are at Jiang Yan's family. Are you sure you can bring her brother and sister out safely? Su Fan knew that the girl asked this question for Jiang Yan to hear, fearing that she would worry about her family. He glanced at Jiang Yan and asked, what is your ancestor's cultivation? My ancestor is a cultivator in the transformation realm. After hearing what the other party said, Su Fan nodded. It's just a small broken family. I came to ask for a few people. Do they dare not give them? Well, I promise that your family is safe and sound. Luo Ziwen laughed and hugged Jiang Yan to comfort her. I said it's okay, don't worry. After she finished speaking, she turned around and looked at Su Fan. Then why are you still standing there? Let's go quickly. Su Fan rolled his eyes. Isn't I going out now? They came to the teleportation hall of Dongli village. The cultivators guarding here saw the three people and didn't even take the spirit crystals needed for teleportation. They teleported them away directly. Just now, Dong Xianzhen personally issued a decree to send these people away as soon as possible. Su Fan took the two sisters away from the burial demon mountains and traveled all the way to the Luoxia Fairy City in the western region of Wu'ai Ocean. Compared with the central region, eastern region and southern region of Wu'ai Ocean, which are rich in spiritual resources, the western region is the poorest region in the entire plain. Fortunately, compared with the chaotic burial demon mountains in the northern region and other regions where immortals and demons confront each other, there are not so many conflicts in the western region. Even during the most intense period of the battle between the immortals and demons, this place was not affected much. To put it bluntly, both immortals and demons look down on the western region. The Luoxia Mountains, not far from the Luoxia Fairy City, is the mountain gate of the Luoxia sect, but it is said that the ancestor of the sect is only an old monster in the refining void realm. The ancestors of the sects and cultivation families in other regions, even if they are in a state of decline, will have a big boss in the fusion realm sitting in. But there is not even a super sect in the western region, and there are small and medium-sized sects and cultivation families like the Luoxia sect everywhere. When Su Fan walked out of the teleportation hall of Luoxia Fairy City, he clearly felt that the spiritual energy here was relatively thin. This was still within the fairy city. If you go out of the city, the spiritual energy will definitely be thinner. At this time, Luo Ziwen and Jiang Yan also walked out of the teleportation hall. Let's go directly to Jiang's house, or settle down in the city first. After listening to Luo Ziwen's words, Su Fan glanced at Jiang Yan, who was full of melancholy. Maybe it was because she had been away from home for many years. This time, the girl's mood was obviously affected. She felt a sense of homesickness. Let's find a place to settle down in the city first, and we'll go there tomorrow morning. That's fine. Let's find a place to stay first. They found an inn in the city to settle down, and then found a hotel on the street and prepared to go in for a meal. Su Fan and the two girls came to the door of a private room. As soon as they pushed the door in, they found a middle-aged monk sitting inside. He frowned immediately, and a sense of crisis arose in his heart. Because he couldn't see through the background of the middle-aged monk in the private room. It seemed that there was not even a trace of spiritual energy on the other party. Those who didn't know would think he was immortal. Even if Su Fan was stupid, he knew that the person in the room was not simple. He must be a high-level boss. He hurriedly nodded to the other party respectfully and apologetically, and then wanted to leave the private room. Come in, I've been waiting for you for a long time. After hearing the other party's words, Su Fan and Luo Ziwen looked at each other and then walked into the private room. They didn't dare to sit down after entering the private room, and stood in front of the middle-aged monk in a proper manner. At this time, Su Fan finally sensed a trace of the other party's breath, and he hurriedly bowed. Junior, I pay my respects to the immortal venerable. The middle-aged monk smiled and waved his hand slightly. Okay, sit down. Su Fan and Luo Ziwen hurriedly sat down after hearing this, but they only dared to sit half of their buttocks. You are Ziwen, right? Your ancestor asked someone to tell me to accompany you to the Zhang family. After the other party finished speaking, he glanced at Su Fan and said, you don't have to go. After hearing what the big man said, Su Fan immediately understood what the other party meant. It must be the ancestor of Luo Zuan's family, who was afraid that Su Fan would have the intention to kill and then slaughter the Jiang family. This thing is about cause and effect. Luo Zuan has been involved in this matter. If Su Fan caused the sin of killing, the sister will also have to bear the cause and effect. Especially the disciples of the Xianzong, they have to care about some reputation. The ancestor of Luo Zuan's family doesn't want the sister to bear any bad reputation, especially when she is with Su Fan, the killer. The sister instructed Su Fan to kill several children of the Jiang family in Dongli village, and the ancestor of her family was very angry. If she followed Su Fan to the Jiang family, she would have to slaughter the Jiang family. Things like slaughtering a family and exterminating a family are not a good reputation for the disciples of the Xianzong. Thinking of this, Su Fan couldn't help but smile bitterly. My reputation is completely ruined, and I can't wash it off even if I want to. Su Fan guessed that the big man in the refining void realm in the private room should be the ancestor of the Luoxia sect. It's not a big deal to ask him to solve Jiang Yan's problem when he comes to his place. As Su Fan expected, the big man in the refining void realm found a senior member of the Huishan realm in the sect and asked him to take Jiang Yan home to do things. If it weren't for Luo Zuan, he might not even show up. At this moment, there were only 3 of them left in the private room. The big man in the refining void realm kept chatting with Luo Zuan and ignored Su Fan at all. Maybe in the eyes of this big man, Su Fan was just an evil demon, and he had no intention of communicating with him at all. Su Fan was also happy with this, drinking and eating there by himself. How long are you going to stay in Luoxia Fairy City? The big man suddenly asked while chatting, and Su Fan was stunned. Damn. It seems that he has really become a disaster. Su Fan glanced at Luo Zuan, and then said, I was entrusted by Lord Xianzan to protect the safety of Taoist Zuan. Anyway, the other party would not ask the ancestor of Luo Zuan's family, so he simply carried the old man out. The other party was shocked when he heard it, and then looked at Luo Zuan again. The scenery of Luoxia mountain range is still good. Tomorrow I will arrange several young disciples in the sect to accompany you around. Luo Zuan suppressed his smile and looked at Su Fan, saying, no need to trouble the senior, I will just walk around here by myself. If you come to my Luoxia sect and I don't receive you well, your ancestor will definitely blame me. Don't worry about it, just listen to my arrangements. Su Fan rolled his eyes when he heard it. After all, you are also a big boss in the refining void realm, and this is too obvious. Damn, the disciples of the immortal sect still have to rely on their background. Chapter 900, Su Fan's current strength even scares himself. Although the Luoxia sect is only a mid-level sect, it is definitely a dominant position in the tens of thousands of miles of Luoxia mountains. Before dusk, Jiang Yan took several brothers and sisters to the Luoxia fairy city. Luo Zuan sent all of Jiang Yan's brothers and sisters into her secret space. In the next few days, she was accompanied by several outstanding young disciples of the Luoxia sect to travel around the Luoxia mountains. After all, the sister was born in a super family, so of course she knew the ways of the world. Her actions also gave the Luoxia sect enough face. Su Fan finally felt comfortable and stayed in the hotel room in the city every day. The main reason was that he didn't want to cause trouble. The old ancestor of the Luoxia sect, who was in the refining void realm, was watching his every move, every day. In addition, Su Fan wanted to try to practice the dragon elephant swallowing yuan refining blood mysterious art to perform the 4th round of tempering of the blood in his body. Just a few days of trying gave him a great surprise. Su Fan found that after breaking through the spiritualization realm, the 4th round of blood tempering required much less time than when he was in the nascent soul realm. Su Fan estimated that it would take at most a few years to complete the 4th round of blood tempering in his body. Not only that, it may be because he swallowed the essence and blood of the old man with dead wood, the influence of the blood of the foreign demon in his body on him has become less and less. Moreover, when he broke through, he used the witch formation set up by the witch gate boss, so the essence and blood of the old man with dead wood he swallowed had been purified to be extremely pure. And although the old man with dead wood was an evil cultivator, he was a pure human body after all. Therefore, when performing the 4th blood tempering, not only did he get twice the result with half the effort, but it also greatly increased Su Fan's adaptability to the blood in his body. In addition, over the past few months, Su Fan's physical data in all aspects have been slowly increasing. After he completed the 4th tempering of his blood, he didn't know how strong he would be. Now Su Fan's strength is so strong that even he himself is afraid. As for the techniques, the Hununhuiki Sutra is the fundamental method, and he practices it twice a day, morning and evening. There are also 2 soul techniques that he has just obtained, the Vajra Deliverance Great Sunwheel Sutra and the Netherworld Heavenly Magic Soul Refining Technique. Since he got the Vajra Deliverance Great Sunwheel Sutra, he has developed a habit of reciting it several times a day. Although he did not feel any changes in a short period of time, he was still surprised after reciting it continuously for more than a year. Su Fan found that reciting the Vajra Deliverance Great Sunwheel Sutra every day can not only temper his consciousness, but also slowly enhance the toughness of his soul. If he recites it continuously for dozens or hundreds of years, his soul strength will definitely be as tough as steel, and even in the face of the soul attacks of high-level monks, he will have a very strong defense ability. Especially in the face of those gloomy and treacherous soul evil methods, the defense will be doubled. He also tried to visualize and practice the Netherworld Heavenly Magic Soul Refining Technique. But this technique is too evil, especially when he first started practicing. The side effects are very large. So Su Fan temporarily gave up practicing the set of exercises, and waited until he was completely stable. In the evening, Su Fan finally walked out of the hotel room. He strolled on the streets of Luoxia Fairy City. After walking for a while, he clearly sensed several breaths behind him. Su Fan couldn't help but smile bitterly. The old guy from Luoxia sect was really worried about him. He sighed secretly, how easy he was to get along with. Su Fan thought he was not a good killer. Every time he took action, he had no choice but to do it, and he never killed innocent people indiscriminately. But people would rather believe the rumors outside than get to know him in depth. In fact, thinking about it, I feel quite sad. Su Fan walked into a restaurant on the street. It was lunchtime and the hall was full of diners. He waited for a long time before finding a seat and then asked for some spiritual wine and spiritual food to eat. Su Fan ate while listening to the monks around him chatting, and soon heard someone talking about him. All of them were about him beheading several Zhang family cultivators in Dongli village in the Burial Demon Mountains, and the news that he shouted back several transformation realm cultivators. These news reached the western region of Wu'ai Ocean, and were already spread out of proportion. It was said that Su Fan had started a killing spree again, beheading hundreds of cultivators, and there were even people saying that he had bloodbathed Dongli village. Su Fan was very angry when he heard this, but he really had no way out. Fortunately, there was no news about his breakthrough to the transformation realm. It seemed that Dong Xianzan of Dongli village did not say anything. At present, except for the ancestor of Luo Zuan's family, only Dong Xianzan of Dongli village knew that he had broken through the transformation realm. Before coming to Luoxia Fairy City, Su Fan was more careful and made a deal with the big boss of the Wuman Upper Realm to let him help him conceal his realm. Even the old ancestor of the refining realm of Luoxia sect did not see through his cultivation. Maybe he didn't want to provoke this big devil because of this little thing. After Su Fan finished his meal, he returned to the hotel room. He set up an isolation magic circle and then entered the portable secret realm. When Sister Zhen saw him coming back, she quickly floated over and hugged his arm. Be good, help me make a pot of spiritual tea. Sister Zhen reluctantly left his arms, brewed a pot of spiritual tea, and poured him a cup. Su Fan took a sip of the teacup, then took off the Jade Talisman of Ruai Pavilion from his waist, input a trace of spiritual energy to activate the light curtain. He thought for a while, and then sent a message to Qin Yu. Is there any information about me recently? There are many people who have inquired about your recent intelligence, and they have appeared on the bounty light curtains of many underground organizations. Damn, they must be people from Wangchuan Palace, Shinran Clan and Wu Aidao. Fortunately, I left the Burial Demon Mountains, otherwise it would be quite troublesome if I was entangled by these guys. What kind of intelligence do I have outside? Mostly about you in Dongli village, saying that you killed several children of small families, and drove away several old monsters in the god transformation realm with a shout. Besides these, there's nothing else, no more. There are all kinds of information about you in the past. Seeing Qin Yu's message, Su Fan couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. From the information currently available, the news of his breakthrough to the god transformation realm has not spread. The guys from the Wangchuan Palace, the Celestial Clan and the Wu Aidao had better track my breath now. It's just right to take advantage of the fact that the news of my breakthrough to the god transformation realm has not spread yet, and catch all those who are chasing me. When I was in the nascent soul realm, I was not afraid of your pursuit. Now that he has broken through the God transformation realm, no matter how many God transformation realm cultivators you send, they are just like delivering food. At that time, I must kill them to my heart's content, until blood flows like a river. Su Fan chatted with Qin Yu for a few more words, and then put away the jade talisman of Ruai Pavilion. At this time, a cool body came close and got into his arms. Master, is there another grandma in our family? After hearing what Sister Zhen said, Su Fan, who was drinking tea, spit out a mouthful of tea. Ahem. What nonsense are you talking about? I have no interest in that little girl at all, but why do I feel that the girl is interested in you? She is just an ignorant little girl, thinking about things in novels. Sister Zhen curled her lips. Her master. You say he's lustful, but it's not true. But the strange thing is that the master is obviously born quite ordinary, but for some reason, he can always attract some girls. I just want to ask, if there is another grandma in the family, I, as a servant, must serve her carefully, right? Where do so many grandmas come from? What do you think about every day? Sister Zhen rolled her eyes. If all these years were added together, it would be enough for 2 mahjong tables. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.